You are listening to The Last Hand, Book 8 of the Nadia Wolf Series, written by Nicolette Pierce. Copyright 2018. Audio copyright 2025 by Pierced Heart Publishing. Digitally narrated with full cast of voices. Chapter 1. It wasn't because the bed was lumpy or uncomfortable that I couldn't sleep. It was everything else. As I tossed and turned next to a peacefully slumbering Caleb, I realized that life had become complicated. No matter how much I tried to force it, sleep was not my friend. It only made me queasy. Of course, that could be due to the very disruptive baby now performing somersaults in my belly. I sat up and rubbed my stomach, willing the nausea to go away. But, like always, it didn't work. I ran to the bathroom, hand covering my mouth to halt the geyser. And like always, when I finally made it to the toilet, not much came out, just retching and heaving. It was horrible, this nausea. I didn't understand how the Earth's population was so large. Who would ever want to go through this multiple times? Maya had promised it would only be a couple of months, and then I would feel better. I hoped she was right, because there was no way I would survive like this much longer. As I flushed the toilet and washed my face and hands, rinsing out my mouth, I felt a presence behind me.
"Are you okay, kitten?"
Caleb asked, flipping on the light. His brow was etched with concern. It was rare to see Caleb worried. He was always a source of unaffected good humor. With his sandy locks and wide smile, he had a tendency to spread his happy mood to everyone who crossed his path. I envied that about him. I grabbed the hand towel and mopped my face. "I'll live." He crossed the distance between us and wrapped me in his arms. I leaned heavily against him, thankful we were in this together.
"It'll get better."
I didn't see how he could guarantee that, but I didn't really want to argue either. He was only trying to be supportive. If men really wanted to help, they would have figured out how to carry babies themselves. "It'd just be easier if we had a home," I said.
"We'll have one soon enough. Unfortunately, the repairs to my condo won't be done until our new house is finished. We're stranded for now. We just have to wait this out."
"Or go to a hotel," I suggested hopefully.
Frankie and Mark insisted we stay here. They're excited to share their new chapel and home with us.
"That doesn't mean we need to live here for 2 months. It's only been a week and I already want to run away." Caleb chuckled, pulling me closer and kissing the top of my head as if consoling a child. Perhaps I was behaving like one, but with his condo flooded from a water pipe break, me being pregnant and miserable, and then having to live with Frankie and Mark, it was as much as I could handle. "I feel like I'm in a zoo and all the animals are judging me," I said.
"Would it make you feel better if I turned them around?"
Caleb asked, pointing to the quilted animals surrounding us. "No, leave them." I had made my peace with the hundreds of crafted animals that Mark had strewn throughout the room. It was a little claustrophobic, but we were in their home. Mark had tried to contain his craft area to the corner, but with over 20 bolts of fabric plus all the bobs and doodads that went with it, it was nearly impossible. However, the bed was comfortable, and we had our own bathroom. Plus, Frankie and Mark were usually pleasant to be around during the day. At night, they tended to argue a lot. Their house, located off the back of the wedding chapel, was not big enough to hide from them or their voices, which bounced off the vaulted ceilings. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and an open-concept living room and kitchen were great for a couple and a cat, but not also for 2 long-term guests. "I think I need air," I said.
"It's the middle of the night. Just come back to bed. I'll give you a massage."
I paused, not wanting to miss out on one of his massages. Quickly agreeing, I plopped down on the bed, awaiting his wonderful hands. I wondered how life would be after the baby. It made me nervous. Even in strong relationships, a baby could upset everything. I had my doubts and worries, but Caleb seemed perfectly content. It was as if this was everything he had expected. It was not what I had expected. In fact, I hadn't known if I'd ever want a child. Now I just had to wait and see what happened. Caleb settled next to me, stroking my back with one hand. It was lovely until a few minutes later when he fell into a sound sleep. His warm hand dropped in the middle of my back, adding an extra weight that made me uncomfortable. I was already retaining what felt like gallons of water. Gently slipping out of his grasp, I sat up. It'd do me no good to lie there and listen to his breathing. Besides, I'd never be able to fall asleep with so much uncertainty racing through my mind. No, it was time to get back into a routine. Just because I was pregnant didn't mean I couldn't work. And since the baby wouldn't let me sleep, she would just have to come with me. I really had no idea the sex of the baby, but I didn't want to call it either. So instead, I chose she. For some reason, I suspected she would be a girl. I didn't care one way or the other about the gender, but there was just something that told me she would be a girl. I never once told Caleb what I suspected. He was adamant that it should be a surprise. Quietly, I dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, then slipped on my shoes. I gave my mouth a final scouring before I picked up my backpack and grabbed my hoodie on the way out. Gus sat outside the bedroom door. His very grumpy demeanor greeted me. I reached down to pet him. "Frankie kicked you out of the bedroom again, didn't he?" Gus grunted his disapproval when I straightened. The tubby gray cat never wanted my affection, just food. But with Mark's coddling, Gus no longer had to demand food. His rounded belly was proof of that. I led him into the bedroom to sleep with Caleb. He waddled through the door and stared at the bed and then at me. Knowing exactly what he wanted, I walked over to pick him up and set him on the bed. He gave another grunt and then settled in. Smiling, I walked out the door and headed to the casino. It was an hour into playing when I folded my hand again. My head wasn't into cards, but the rest of me wasn't into sleeping. So I waited for the next hand at the low-stakes table, biding my time. I could have entered the high-stakes room. But even though I had won enough money to afford it, I still felt odd sitting at the high rollers table. My comfort zone was on the main floor. So there I sat, waiting for the night to end with hundreds of other people.
"My office now."
I heard the growled order behind me and knew instantly who it was. I had come to Tropical Rain Casino because I knew where everything was, and I knew the playstyle. However, I didn't think Remy would be working the night shift. Since I wasn't currently in a hand, I gathered up my chips and tucked them into my pocket. Standing, I turned to find a scowling, tight-lipped man who towered over me with way too many muscles. Slot machine lights bounced off his shiny, shaved head. I smiled at him. "What brings you here?" His scowl deepened, and I knew I had poked a button. But it was so easy with Remy. He had so many buttons.
"Get your ass in my office now."
"It's nice to see you too. How have you been? I hear you're dating someone. I believe her name is Ava."
"Jet."
He growled his nickname for me in warning. If my stomach hadn't chosen that moment to tumble, I would have chuckled at his expression. He looked thunderous. Had anybody else been under that glare, they might have crumbled. But he couldn't scare me. Remy was a softie and my friend. So, instead of pressing him to the breaking point, which he was already tiptoeing, I allowed him to march me to the office. I sat down on the familiar couch and eased back, rubbing my stomach. His scowl eased only slightly.
"It's the middle of the night, Jet. And you're pregnant. You should be home."
"I appreciate your concern, but I couldn't sleep and I have no home. I needed to get out."
"Where's Caleb?"
"Sleeping at Frankie's."
"Then that's where you should be."
I raised a brow. Last time I checked, it was the 21st century. I don't need to be everywhere my fiancé is.
"I didn't say that, but have you forgotten Sergio's demented cousin? Alfonso is still out there. Until Sergio figures out where he is, you're not to be alone anywhere or anytime."
I don't see why I'm in danger. What would he want with me?"
"Jet, you helped take down his family business.
Not really. Sergio did most of the work.
Have you forgotten Daegor? He was one of the cousin's workers.
How could I forget Daegor? The man had kidnapped me and Maya. He had an illegal counterfeit operation running in Grayson's casino, and he tried to kill me several times. If that's the case, we're all in trouble, I said. You, me, Grayson, David, and Maya. We were all involved. And weren't Jenna and her brother somehow wrapped up in it as well? I didn't know Jenna very well, other than what Maya had told me. But her brother had accidentally picked up the wrong bag with Alfonso's drugs in it. Grayson had to pay a hefty sum to keep them all alive.
David's keeping track of Maya, Jenna, and Grayson. He has enough to deal with without adding you to the list.
Have there been any leads or threats?
Only what we've learned from Sergio. Alfonso is out for revenge. He's angry and has nothing to lose. And that means he won't stop. He's out for blood.
From what I remember, he was out for blood to begin with.
He won't stop. Do you see our problem?
There was always a problem. That never seemed to change, and I was tired of it. I was tired of living in fear. Tell me about Ava, I said.
Stop trying to change the subject. You know damn well I'm not going to answer.
Why not?
Jed, if you want to live to see tomorrow, stop asking about Ava. This is serious.
I studied him for a moment. Are you two fighting?
No, we're not fighting.
I think maybe you are.
Jed.
I didn't know why I liked to rile Remy. Maybe because it was so easy. Maybe it was because I felt as though he were a brother. Or maybe when everything in life turned upside down, I could count on Remy, even if he was upset with me. I held up my hands, signaling a truce. Okay, I won't ask about Ava anymore tonight, but I do want to meet her eventually. Remy's scowl disappeared as he straightened.
Good. That will work nicely.
What will work nicely?
Since you seem to wander around with no thoughts of protecting yourself or the baby, Ava will be assigned to you.
I sat rigid. Assigned? You can't assign her to me.
You said you wanted to meet her. Now you can.
Meeting her is one thing, but I don't need a babysitter.
Obviously you do.
Remy, this is silly. Ava won't want to follow me around, and I don't want her to.
It's either this or you stay at Frankie's until we resolve the issue.
Well, there was no way I was going to stay holed up at Frankie's. I had no idea how long it would take, and I was truly beginning to think Mark's quilted animals were planning on murdering me in my sleep. I promised to stay near Caleb or be with someone at all times. Will that make you happy?
This isn't about me being happy. It's about survival. You've been through too many scrapes before and narrowly escaped each time. You might not be as lucky this time.
I appreciate the concern. But until we know more, there's no need to bring out the armed guards.
That's exactly what needs to happen.
Remy, I promise I'll be with someone at all times.
And what happens if you break your promise?
I won't. But if I do, then you can put me under lockdown.
I'll keep you to that promise.
I promise, I repeated. When he looked convinced, I added, So, tell me about Ava. He groaned. Chapter 2. When I returned to Frankie and Mark's, the morning light twinkled on the horizon. Remy had let me stay at the casino a little bit longer, posting a guard right next to my table. Unfortunately, the play had fizzled, and I was forced to either return home or throw money away. To my surprise, both Frankie and Mark were awake and in the middle of a quarrel. Well, the quarreling didn't surprise me. I tried to navigate past the warring couple, however, they caught me.
Tell him he's a fool.
Frankie demanded.
I'm the fool?
Mark questioned.
What about you? The whole idea for the extra room is ridiculous.
I didn't want to get in the middle, yet it seemed I had no choice. Frankie tucked his arm in mine and ushered me to the kitchen where coffee was brewing. The delightful smell tickled my senses, making me want to have a cup. But I had been told I had to greatly limit my caffeine intake. Too much caffeine wasn't good for a baby. As the scent wafted around me, I couldn't help but accept a cup from Frankie. I took a tiny sip and relaxed into a kitchen chair. I wouldn't drink the whole cup, but 2 little sips would be okay. I sighed. This whole baby thing was confusing. I didn't know how much was too much and how much was not enough. They needed more specifics. Like 1 ounce of coffee was okay, but 2 was not. I needed hard numbers, not a ballpark figure. Shifting in my clear plastic seat, I tried to find a comfortable spot. The chairs might look modern, but they were not comfy. The rest of the kitchen was decorated in classic happy yellows on the walls and a light-colored wood for the cabinets.
I'm not going to have a dinosaur-themed chapel,
Mark said.
It's undignified.
Frankie rolled his eyes.
How are we going to be the best if we don't have all themes covered?
Dinosaurs died 1 billion years ago. Let them rest.
Why are you awake so early? I asked, interrupting their bickering.
Early?
Frankie asked.
We haven't even gone to sleep yet.
Well, I suggest you do. You're both probably overtired and are fighting for no reason.
No reason. He's dismissing my idea without even thinking about it. It could have potential.
Potential? What, a caveman dragging his bride down the aisle by her ponytail? Real classy.
I sighed and slumped over the table and instantly regretted it when acid reflux fired up my esophagus. Coffee was now my enemy. I straightened and rubbed my throat. Can you get me a glass of water, please? Mark nodded, hurried to the cupboard and pulled out a glass. While he was filling it, I asked, "Why are you having problems with this one room?"
We have 9 other rooms. All of them have their own themes, but we are stumped on this last one.
Frankie frowned. What are the other themes? I asked, giving Mark a nod of thanks when he handed me the glass. I took a fortifying sip and let it wash away the burn from my throat. I listened while they listed off the rooms, which included a fairy tale chapel, an Elvis chapel, country western Adam and Eve, and several others that sounded quite nice. But they were missing the essence of the original All Celebrities chapel. I think you need to leave it empty, I said.
Have an unused room? We'd lose money.
Don't leave it unused, but give it rotating themes. Every month you could have a new theme. It could be dinosaurs or whatever you want. They glanced at each other with rounded eyes.
Actually, that might just work. Then we wouldn't get bored of our standard themes.
Mark shuddered.
I don't want to ever be Prince Charming again.
Then who will officiate the fairy tale chapel? I asked. Mark looked the part when he was dressed in his tunic and tights.
We're hiring 2 new employees. It was one of the conditions we negotiated. I don't want to work around the clock with all of these different chapels. It would be insane.
It sounds like you have everything under control, I said.
Almost.
What's left? I asked. Since I had solved one of the problems, I thought I was on a roll. Maybe I could help them out more.
You?
Me? I asked, confused. Both Frankie and Mark nodded. What did I do? I asked.
You made Remy yell at us.
That man is built like a rock and growls like a bear. I don't like when he yells at me for losing track of you.
I'm sorry. I promised him that I wouldn't go anywhere alone again.
He doesn't believe you. He thinks you're going to try something. So from now on, we're going to be your shadows.
I shook my head. No, I'll make sure to stay near Caleb. Frankie tisked.
We already enlisted help. David, Grayson, and Remy will all be over later today to come up with a game plan.
I narrowed my eyes at that, wondering what was really going on. Remy may have yelled, but I doubted Frankie and Mark would care enough to bring the whole gang over to figure out my safety. And when they come over, what are you going to do? I asked.
There'll be security,
Frankie said, and Mark nodded. You called them this early in the morning? I asked. Did you wake them up?
They weren't happy, but once we told them why we were calling, they were very cooperative.
I bet, I said, suspicious.
We better get our beauty sleep before they arrive.
Yes, wouldn't want to have dark circles.
What about Maya? I asked.
She'll be at home.
So, just the men?
Yes, they should be enough.
That was my aha moment. Frankie and Mark didn't give a fig about me. They only wanted an excuse to see the hunky men. You just blew your cover, I said. And I thought you two were in a committed relationship. Mark and Frankie looked at each other with a shrug, and then back at me.
We are.
That doesn't mean we can't appreciate the beauty of the masterpieces.
Frankie smiled.
Masterpieces.
Mark said, grinning.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This wasn't good news for me. It meant I had to see Grayson again. I wished the best for Grayson and Jenna, but I didn't want to make it any more awkward than it already was. Just based on my brief encounter with him at the airport, he seemed happy with his new girlfriend. However, to sit in the same room with him didn't seem like the right course of action. But since he was in the middle of this as well, I supposed that he should be involved. I just hoped Caleb wouldn't feel bad about the situation. It would be like me sitting in a room with one of his ex-girlfriends. I would hate that. Since Caleb and I had gotten engaged, not once had he ever looked at another woman, which was sometimes difficult. At large competitions, he was the focal point, and women tended to follow him around. But he never gave them attention. When I remember back to when we were just friends, he never looked at other women when he was with me. Sure, one might have been draped on him, but he was always attentive to me. I wish I would have understood my draw to him sooner. I would have less of a mess to clean. After Frankie and Mark said goodnight, I took a large drink of water and placed the glass in the dishwasher. I then mustered up the courage to talk to Caleb. To my surprise, he was awake and lounging on the bed, reading a magazine. He looked up and smiled, though his dimple was showing, which meant he was upset about something. Or someone. Probably me.
Were you able to fend off Remy?
He called you too? Caleb nodded.
Very adamant that I should keep track of my woman.
I'm sorry he called.
I'm not. It was nice knowing where you were.
Are you mad? He thought for a moment before shaking his head.
No, I'm not mad, but I do think you should be more careful. Remy has a point.
Yes, he has a point. But I can't be cooped up all day and night. The baby has me and my hormones all messed up. I can't sleep, I can hardly eat, and what little I drink gives me indigestion. Sometimes I just need to escape. Sometimes I just want life to return to normal.
Ever since I met you, you've never had any sort of normal life. But I understand. And I don't want you to feel like you're trapped. I also don't want you to think that you and I have to be joined at the hip either. I just want you to be safe, kitten, and whatever that takes, I'll do it. So if that means you want to go to the casino in the middle of the night, let me come too. You don't have to sit with me, you can play at your own table.
I sat on the bed next to him. I have a confession.
What's that?
I played at the low-stakes table tonight. I don't feel comfortable going into the high-stakes room.
It takes time, kitten,
He said, his hand stroking my arm.
We don't all start out at the high-stakes table.
I know, but I thought now that I have money, I'd feel more comfortable there. But I felt like a fraud. I wanted a poker career because I enjoy it. I enjoy the thrill of winning and being on the edge of losing. In high stakes, it's magnified. What if I can only ever be a low-stakes player? What if this is the height of my career? And when the baby comes, what then? I couldn't very well have a bouncing baby on my lap while I played. Would I get a sitter? Or would I stay at home? Somehow, I didn't think that would work out so well. I had already fled the coop tonight.
What are you thinking about? You're frowning.
I have too many questions in my head. He tossed down his magazine and pulled me in closer.
We're in this together. Don't forget that.
I know. There's just a lot to think about.
Stop thinking then.
I laughed. It doesn't work like that,
Sure it does.
he said, placing small kisses along my neck. It felt delightfully warm and tingly. A little cozy, too. I wrapped my arms around him. I don't believe you. Prove it. He smiled.
Gladly.
Chapter 3. Frankie's dream of having only gorgeous men come over never came true. Each invitee came with their significant other. I gazed about the leather-decorated living room, amazed that in such a short time everyone had found their happily ever after. Grayson had found Jenna, and both seemed completely content together. She animatedly chatted about the bed and breakfast, which was, of course, a success. How could it not be with Grayson at the helm? Remy had Ava, who looked as though she could drop-kick a ninja, while still pulling off more style than I could. I glanced down at my baggy shirt and jeans and sighed. I didn't even have Caleb's good looks to balance me out as he was out running errands. Ian could barely take his eyes off Gwen. She was beautiful, of course, but I knew there was something more to her. There was something more to all of them than pretty hair and white teeth. And while I was happy to meet each one of them, I also felt a little overwhelmed. I had gone away when life had crumbled and came back to buildings rebuilt, and each friend happily paired. While I still loved Grayson, it was only as a friend. And my ex-husband Ian was more of a brother. Then there was Remy, who would always hold a special place in my heart as the one that I couldn't shake. He was my constant shadow. Thankfully, Maya and David had come as well. They were the glue that held this motley crew together. Frankie and Mark hurried between the couples, who were chatting amicably. Drinks were offered and appetizers passed around. The atmosphere seemed like more of a party than a doomsday strategy session. It was almost as if nothing had happened. Yet I detected a subtle unease, or perhaps it was just myself. It was as if there was a nameless creature sitting in the room that no one wanted to address. Maya hurried over to me with a beaming smile. Well, she hurried as fast as her pregnant, waddling body would allow. Her curly blonde hair bobbed with each step. It was still faster than I could move, considering every time I tried to stand, I felt nauseated. So I sat safely on the brown leather couch.
"Isn't this wonderful?"
she asked, sitting next to me.
"Everyone is here. We're all a big happy family again."
When were we ever a big happy family? I asked.
"Don't be such a poop.
She scolded, wagging her finger at me.
It's wonderful that we're getting together like this."
I didn't mean to be a poop, I said. I just meant that we've never been like this before. It was always David and Remy trying to pull rank on everyone. Grayson with his head buried in casino work. Ian causing mischief from a different country. And you and I stuck in the middle of all of it.
Well, I guess when you put it that way, it's a little different. But look around. Everyone is in love.
She clasped her hands together at her chest.
Isn't this great?
Yeah, I guess.
What do you mean you guess?
Maya leaned over and whispered.
You're not still in love with Grayson, are you?
I glanced about the room to see if anybody had heard her. Thankfully, it didn't seem as though anyone had. No, I mean, yes, I love him as a friend. It has nothing to do with Grayson. I'm just overwhelmed, I guess.
Overwhelmed with what?
Well, I'm engaged and pregnant. And oh yeah, there's a bloodthirsty drug lord that wants revenge. And I'm living with Frankie and Mark. Maya rubbed her rounded belly with a frown.
Well, we're here because of the drug lord, so we'll come up with a plan for that. As for the baby, I'm so excited. Our babies are going to have so much fun together. It's great for them to have instant cousins. And who knows, maybe we can get Jenna, Gwen, and Ava to have babies as well.
It was then that attention was turned toward us as 6 pairs of eyes stared in horror at Maya. I simply smiled back. Those poor girls had to know what they were marrying into. And yes, Remy and Ava could say that they weren't technically related to Maya. However, I wasn't related either, and yet our babies would be cousins. It was as if once you met Maya and she tugged you into her circle, You were part of her family forever. And that's what I loved most about her. And yet, it did have its downsides too.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I've already told you the time frame for having babies, which means you all need to get married soon.
While Frankie and Mark had no desire to hop in on the baby conversation, they were quick to turn their attention when it came to weddings. Frankie glanced at each couple with dollar signs in his eyes.
We can host all your weddings here. You just let us take care of everything. We have a 10th chapel, which will be a rotating theme. Whatever you want, we'll make sure it happens.
You'll get the friends and family discount too.
Mark added.
And if you'd like to do a double wedding, we can accommodate that.
Maya clasped her hands together.
Can you do 4 weddings at once?
I've never done one that large before.
But we'll take on the challenge.
Oh, this is going to be great. I wish I could get married again.
David nervously glanced at his wife.
Let's just focus on the baby for now.
What date should we mark on our calendar?
Frankie asked the group.
Hang on.
Remy interrupted.
We weren't planning on having a group wedding.
Frankie and Maya frowned. Maya crossed her arms as best as she could, folding them over her belly. She tried to look stern but couldn't pull it off. However, everyone in the room knew they were no match for her. When she had her mind made up on something, it was hard to sway her. And with Frankie and Mark in her corner, it would be best if everyone fell in line.
You know very well that you all are busy.
Maya turned to the first couple.
Remy, you put in long hours at the casino. Plus, you and Ava both have the tendency to drag your feet. Don't try to deny it. Wouldn't you rather leave the planning to us and finally get married?
Before they could answer, she turned to Ian and Gwen.
I know that you both are doing extensive charity work for Sierra Leone. Wouldn't you rather spend time doing that than planning a wedding? And I mean a legitimate marriage with a certificate.
Again, she didn't let them answer.
And Grayson and Jenna, I know darn well that you both are spending all of your time working on the bed and breakfast. You both are cut from the same cloth and you can't get your heads out of business to save your life. Let us do the planning. You can look over the details and give your final approval.
She then turned to Frankie with a smile.
I think we have it settled.
What about Nadia?
Ian asked, grinning. I returned his grin with a scowl. Maya waved a dismissive hand.
Of course I'm going to take care of her too. It was implied.
His grin grew wider, and my scowl deepened.
Well, I think we have it all arranged. We'll get back to you with a date.
Frankie said, ending the discussion before anyone could object. In those few minutes, the entire room had been silenced, and everyone had the same dumbfounded look on their faces. Once again, the meddling trio had bulldozed the group. Thankfully, David had the good sense to break the silence as the 3 tittering wedding planners maneuvered to the kitchen, talking all at once about the upcoming wedding.
Don't worry, I'll talk to Maya. As soon as the baby arrives, she'll be too distracted,
he said. Then he turned to me.
So, Nadia, how's the new house coming along?
Caleb is checking on it now. It seems to be progressing, although very slowly. I'll be happy when it's finished. He smiled knowingly.
Life must be interesting here.
You have no idea. Everyone here was familiar with Frankie and Mark. There was a general murmur of agreement before the conversation began flowing as easily as it had before the matrimonial announcement. Caleb had promised to be back before the others arrived, so something must have delayed him. I sat on the couch, feeling like the odd man out. Everyone here had their significant other except for me. Normally, something like that wouldn't bother me too much, but right now I was feeling rather vulnerable. David must have sensed that. He crossed over and sat next to me on the couch.
You know I'll talk to Maya, right? There's no reason to be nervous.
I know. This has nothing to do with her. I've had this feeling that when I got back to Vegas, everything would fall apart like it did before. It seems like every time I'm in the city, I have bad luck. But as soon as I leave, I have good luck. I'm just worried. With Sergio's cousin Alfonso still on the loose, what if everything falls apart again? What if I lose everything again? He clasped my hand and gave it a gentle squeeze.
You know we'll never let that happen.
I nodded to make him feel better, yet it did nothing to relieve the sourness churning in my stomach. I knew, without a doubt, that my entire life was still held by a single, fragile thread. What if by the end of today, or next week, or even a month from now, it would snap and be gone? Life was in a very turbulent state. And so, when Maya, Frankie, and Mark all skipped into the room and announced the ceremony date, I didn't blink. The others might have gaped in astonishment, but I saw it as a relief. In 1 week from today, I'd be married to Caleb. And that was the only thing that made this situation any better. Chapter 4. It was 30 minutes later when Caleb appeared, looking as though he had rolled in a pile of sawdust. His jeans and t-shirt were covered with sandy debris, and his shoes were encrusted with it. He said a general hello to everyone before dipping down to give me a kiss, sprinkling dust down on top of me and the couch. "What happened to you?" I asked.
There's been another delay in construction. I'm trying to hurry the process along.
"You were helping the builders?" He gave a nod, sending a dust storm down from his wavy caramel hair.
I'll take a quick shower and be right back.
I excused myself from the group and followed him down the hall to the bedroom. As soon as we were alone together, I asked, why was there another delay?
Half of the workers are out with the flu.
And so you jumped in and helped?
I know you want to get out of here. The more manpower they have, the quicker it will be completed.
He was so adorably sweet with his concern, and utterly sexy in his dirty work clothes, that I wanted to drag him to the bed. However, the sawdust tickled my nose, and the scent twisted my stomach. So instead, I said a quick thank you and closed the door behind me, rejoining the group in the living room. By that time, Sergio and Rosie had arrived. They were in the middle of telling the group the latest news, so I took my seat on the couch and listened.
You already know Alfonso is out for revenge. He's not well,
Sergio said. Rosie nodded, her shoulders drooping as if she felt the weight of their troubles bearing down on her. It couldn't have been easy for her. She had been married at such a young age, and to Sergio's horrible brother. It would have been much better had Sergio married her instead. But at least she was free from the drug cartel life, if only Alfonso would leave them alone.
We know he's out for revenge, but is there anything else?
David asked.
Did you find out what he's planning?
Or where he's living.
Remy asked.
He's hiding in Vegas, but that's all I know. We've tracked him to this area, but every time we think we find him, it's just a dead end.
Rosie nervously twisted her gold necklace around her finger.
Does he have any help or hired men?
Grayson asked.
No, I don't think so.
Sergio said.
Rosie and I were able to disband the family business. If he has help, he's funding them. And as far as I know, he doesn't have any money.
So he's solely looking for revenge?
Ava asked.
He doesn't have anything else on his agenda, like starting up the family business again?
As far as we know, no.
Sergio said.
All of his assets have been either frozen or we've given to charities.
Why can't we just call the police?
Maya asked.
Because we have no real information to give them.
Sergio said.
He's illegally in the United States. We have no way to find him. And the only thing the police could do is ship him back. He'll just keep coming for us.
So, how are we involved in this?
Gwen asked.
It started with Dagor and the counterfeit money that was being laundered in Grayson's casino.
Sergio said.
From there, it snowballed to Nadia, Remy, Maya, and then even to Jenna's brother. Anyone who was ever involved in bringing him down is a target. You all helped in one way or another. I'm not sure if you understand the full weight of this. Even without money or help, he will want to kill us one by one.
Think of it as a blacklist.
Remy added.
We brought down his family legacy, the one he had wanted to overtake. He will kill each one of us, starting with the one at the top of the list.
Rosie and I would probably be at the top of the list,
Sergio said.
followed closely by Nadia and Grayson, and then the rest.
So, what should we do?
Jenna asked.
I say we put everyone we think is at the top of the list under lockdown.
Ava said.
The rest of us can perform a search. We can catch him before he has a chance to put a check mark on the list.
No, that'll just put the rest of you in danger.
Grayson said.
If he has the opportunity to kill anyone, he'll take it.
Do we all stay under lockdown?
Maya asked.
No, we'd end up becoming stationary targets.
Remy said.
The only way we're going to end this is if we flush him out.
David said.
We need him to come to us. Otherwise, we'll be hunting shadows, and he'll still have the upper hand.
You're going to bait him?
Ian asked.
I don't like the sound of that.
It's not like we would tie someone to a train track with a neon sign pointing to him.
David said sarcastically.
Remy, Ava, and I trained for this in the military. We'll handle it.
No, you won't.
Maya stated with a stomp of her foot.
The baby is due any day. The last thing I need is to worry about you. Don't make me go through that again. I couldn't handle it. Not with a newborn.
David wrapped his arm around her to soothe her, but she pulled away and turned her back on him. He looked up at the heavens as if willing strength.
Maya is right,
Ava said.
Remy and I can handle this. David should stay with Maya. His first priority is his family's safety.
I can do this by myself.
Remy said to Ava.
Remy, we talked about this. I'm the best tracker you have. Who do you think saved your ass in Iraq?
Remy, who had been ready to argue, closed his mouth and gave a sharp nod.
Give me a couple of days,
Ava said to the group.
If I can't find him within those days, then he's gone underground or moved locations. I'd be able to find him eventually, but I don't want to drag it out past 48 hours.
But not alone.
David said.
Of course not. Remy and I will do this together and update you as we progress. The rest of you need to hide, and not at home. You need to figure out a place to stay that he couldn't easily find you.
We all looked at each other, not sure of where that would be. Caleb and I were already homeless, and it wasn't like Grayson and Jenna could leave the bed and breakfast for too long. Maya had to be close to the hospital, plus Frankie and Mark were still in the process of opening their chapel. No one could just drop everything and hide. Well, except for me.
You can stay at the tropical rain,
Remy said.
It'd be easier for me to get word to you anyway, and I could register you all under fictitious names. Since it's the slow season, I could lock down an entire floor.
There was a general exchange of eye contact and concern, but not from me. Thanks, Remy. I'd like that, I said. I should have expected the shocked looks from everyone. It's not as if I had ever wanted to follow along with plans. However, this would get me out of Frankie and Mark's domain, and I would be in a casino where I could play. It was perfect.
Well, it's settled,
Remy said.
Go pack for a couple of days away and meet me at the tropical rain in 2 hours.
2 hours?
Maya asked.
That's not nearly enough time.
You only have to pack enough for a couple of days,
David said.
You'll be okay with just a few items.
I'll call the security staff and let them know we'll need extra detail.
Remy said, already heading to the door.
2 hours, or I'll hunt you down myself.
Ava flashed a smile before following Remy out the door.
He does love his sport.
After Remy and Ava left, the rest followed suit. Some were mumbling, some were worried, but not me. This was the best possible scenario for this predicament. I smiled and hurried back to the room to find Caleb freshly showered. Pack your bag, I said. We're all moving to the tropical rain for a couple days of lockdown. He looked at me with suspicion.
Why are you smiling?
Because a couple of days of lockdown with you is exactly what I need. He returned the smile. His twinkling blue eyes spoke volumes. Perhaps Vegas wasn't a source of bad luck after all. I had every faith that Remy and Ava would be able to locate Alfonso, and while they did that, I would enjoy my time with Caleb. Chapter 5. The U.S. Secret Service had nothing on Remy and Ava. Those two didn't leave anything to chance. By the time we arrived at the tropical rain, Remy and Ava had secured the 14th floor, which was only one floor lower than the penthouse. The entire floor was ours, along with a guard at every exit and elevator, plus one to walk the hall. More security was assigned to the ground floor. A tourist probably wouldn't notice the increased security. However, I did. As soon as Caleb and I were given our key, we headed straight to the room and bolted the door per Remy's order. While I had thought I could go to the casino floor and gamble, that idea was quickly dashed. We were prisoners for the next 48 hours. The guards were under strict orders to keep us under lockdown and to make sure no one else accessed our floor.
It'll be okay, kitten.
Caleb said.
It's only for a short time, you know that.
Yes, but I was hoping I could play a few hands.
We can always have a private game,
he said with a wink. While I adored our private games, I had wanted to get back to work. I wanted to establish a routine I could maintain even after the baby arrived. Yet, when he looked at me the way he did, which was sultry and sweet at the same time, I guess I didn't mind. The casino would always be there when everything was back to normal. I was contently pondering a private game when I heard a knock on the adjoining door.
Hello, neighbor,
Frankie said when I opened the door. I held back the urge to groan. I had hoped we would have been spread out farther.
We're holding a soiree tonight,
he said, fluttering in and eyeing our furniture. Tonight? It's already 8 o'clock. He tisked and waved a dismissive hand.
Why do I have to keep reminding you that you're in Las Vegas? 8 o'clock Vegas time is brunch.
I'm not on Vegas time. Not yet, anyway.
You've never been on Vegas time, Grandma.
Did you want something?
Yes, I want your furniture.
I scanned the Tropical Rain's standard hotel room, decorated in large palm leaves. I have the table, 2 chairs, and the love seat.
Perfect.
Frankie hurried over to a chair and picked it up, then dashed back into his room with it. On his return, he eyed Caleb.
Can you help with the love seat?
Caleb stepped forward, ready to assist. While Caleb was able to get a good grip on his end, Frankie was not. Frankie dropped his end and tisked.
We'll need to get Remy to help. Or David. Or even Ian.
He hurried out the door and began knocking on doors, even though Remy had forbade it. Within a few minutes, he had 4 additional men in the room to carry 1 love seat. Frankie stood back and admired his handiwork.
I just love it when they flex their muscles.
While David and Ian helped move the love seat, Remy scowled.
Frankie, this is serious. We're not here to have a party. We're here to keep you alive and safe.
Who says we can't be safe and have a party at the same time? Isn't that what being alive is all about? Besides, we're all stuck here together. We might as well plan out the wedding.
There won't be a wedding if we die,
Remy said. Frankie smiled.
I knew you'd agree to the wedding.
Remy's scowl deepened, but I let out a laugh.
Careful, Jet.
I didn't say a word.
You didn't have to. It's written all over your face.
I grinned even wider, making him throw his hands up in disgust. I leaned over to whisper to Caleb. This might be better than I thought,
I heard that.
Remy said before huffing out of the room.
Bolt the damn doors.
When all of the furniture had been moved over and we were only left with a bed, David smiled.
At least you have the most important piece of furniture. See you later.
Before anyone could return to our room, I closed both the adjoining door and the door to the hallway. It was just Caleb and me and a bed. All things considered, this was still better than I had hoped for.
Are we going to the soiree tonight?
Caleb asked as he took my hand and gently guided me to the bed. I glanced at him and then at the bed. Both were strong motivators to stay in the privacy of our own room. However, with Frankie next door and his nosy friends, I decided it was probably worth putting in an appearance. We'll go for a little while. Then I'll feign morning sickness.
How have you been feeling today?
Good and bad. Just when I think I'm feeling like myself again, I get a wave of nausea. He gave me a soothing hug before telling me to lie on the bed.
How about a massage?
I love you, I said. He knew exactly what I needed before I did. He smiled, coaxing me to lie down. I did so willingly.
I know, kitten.
No, but I do.
I know.
But I don't think you know how much I love you.
Why don't you tell me?
He suggested with a cute twist to his mouth, his smiling eyes twinkling. Because you always help me. Not just because we're engaged, but even as friends. You've always been there for me. Even when I'm sick and miserable, you're here for me.
I'll always be here for you, kitten. Where else would I be?
I gave a shrug. You could be anywhere. You could be at the casino making money, or over at the bar having fun with your friends. You could be avoiding me because I'm sick and miserable. But you're here, with me. He sat down next to me and stroked my back.
Any man who wouldn't be here isn't truly in love. I love every little bit of you. I love you even though you're friends with Frankie. And I love you even though you tend to bring dangerous criminals into our lives. I will always love you.
I bit my lip to keep it from trembling. Ordinarily, I wasn't a crier. But with my pregnancy hormones raging and my life once again in danger, it was more than I could bear. The tears began to flow, and once again, I was tucked into Caleb's arms, holding on to him as my rock. If anything should ever happen to him. No, don't go down that road of what-ifs. I could only hope that in these next 2 days, Remy and Ava would find Alfonso. What they were going to do with him once they found him, I had no idea. Someone pounded on the adjoining door. I sat upright, quickly wiping my tears away.
Stop kissing,
Maya said from the other side of the door.
It's time for the party.
Caleb chuckled.
You might have been able to ignore Frankie, but that likely won't work with Maya. Should we go?
I nodded and stood. I'll splash some water on my face first. I padded to the bathroom and flipped on the switch. The harsh light beamed down on me, revealing red puffy eyes, blotchy skin, and worry lines that crinkled my brow. All this anxiety and tension wasn't good for the baby. With a glance down, I ran a hand over my belly. Maybe I should start meditating if only to help my stress level. But that was for another day. Right now, I had to try to look as if I hadn't been crying barrels of tears. I splashed water and patted my face with a towel. When I looked at myself again, I was exactly the same. Red, blotchy, and stressed. Caleb's reflection appeared behind mine.
You look beautiful.
I let out a laugh. And that's another reason why I love you. You lie to make me feel better.
You are beautiful, Nadia.
I'm afraid you're the only one who can see it, I said, looking at the speckled mess in the mirror.
Everyone can see it. Half the men here tonight were in love with you at one point or another.
I arched a brow. Well, I know you're not talking about Frankie or Mark.
No, but they love you in their own way. I was, of course, speaking about Grayson, Ian, and Remy.
Concerned, I turned to face him. He wasn't the jealous type, and yet I had seen that side of him a few times. You know that's not true. Where is this coming from?
From nowhere, just letting you know that I'm not the only one who can see you for who you are, nor will I be the last. However,
he said, gathering me into his arms.
I'm the one who gets to marry you.
Did I tell you we're going to be married in a week?
A week?
I gave a nod. Frankie, Mark, and Maya have the date set. They're planning a group wedding. I eyed him for his reaction. He stared blankly at me for a moment before smiling.
I'm surprised everyone agreed to it, but I would have married you years ago if I could have. So, a week is good with me.
You're okay with the date?
Yeah, I think I am, unless you'd rather go to the chapel downstairs. We could be married right now,
he said with an enchanting smile that I felt all the way to my toes. I curled my arms around his neck, letting my hands drift through his hair. After a tantalizing kiss, he said with all seriousness,
I'm glad you picked me.
I could have said something witty or waved it off as just a comment, but he was somber. It was always you. There were times I was just too blind to see it.
I love you, kitten.
I love you too. A pounding from the adjoining door jostled us from our blissful state. I gave him a quick kiss and then let my hands fall away. Time for the madness to begin.
Like it ever ended.
Caleb said with a smirk. Chapter 6.
Should we do one theme or 4 different ones?
Frankie asked the group. We were all crammed into the same little room, with my hotel furniture mingled in with Frankie's. Except for its initiators, no one seemed enthusiastic about the idea of a group wedding. I didn't blame any of them. We were an odd mix thrown together by circumstance. And while I consider them all family, that didn't mean we'd want to be married together. However, seeing as most of my thoughts were of the location of the nearest toilet, or when our home would be finished, or even where Alfonso might be hiding, I didn't mind that Frankie and his musketeers were planning the wedding. It was one less thing I had to worry about, one less thing I'd screw up. This settled things nicely for me. I glanced over at Caleb, wondering if he might feel the same way. He wore the same dumbfounded expression as the rest of the group. I'd talk to him later. No sense in making waves now. I assumed that's what everyone was thinking as well, biding their time until Alfonso was found and apprehended. Until then, we were all stuck together. We had to make the best of it.
Nadia, what do you think?
Maya asked, snapping me from my thoughts. I'm sorry. I must have been daydreaming. What did you ask? Maya grinned.
I daydream all the time now, too. It's the baby hormones.
I nodded to agree with her, but I rarely daydreamed. I mainly worried. Grayson smirked at me, but then quickly smothered it. He was enjoying my discomfort. I didn't think it was to be mean or vindictive. That wasn't Grayson. I think it was just nice having the spotlight focused elsewhere. It couldn't have been easy for him to have Maya's sole attention on him and Jenna. Well, that wasn't true. She also had a new focus on Ian and Gwen. But still, even half of Maya's attention could be overwhelming. When Maya turned her head, I stuck my tongue out at him, earning a smile. If nothing else, I felt better knowing that at least there was no real tension between Grayson and me. This would have been a horrible situation otherwise. I studied Jenna for a moment, watching how easy they sat together and how she interacted with everyone. It seemed as if she had been a part of the group the entire time. She fit in. Remy and Ava weren't at the soiree, as Frankie was calling it. Tracking down the drug lord trumped sitting in a tiny room discussing wedding plans. Even Gus wasn't impressed as he sprawled out on the bed, his tail flicking with annoyance.
I'm still in favor of the jungle theme,
Mark said.
The grooms could totally pull off wearing a loincloth.
I happily witnessed many of the grooms pale a few shades.
I think they would be better off going traditional. They would look handsome in tuxes, and I know many of the brides want to wear dresses. Well, maybe not Nadia.
Why wouldn't I want to wear a dress? I asked.
Everyone knows you hate dressing up.
Frankie and Mark nodded. But that didn't stop any of you from stuffing me in a dress at your whim, I stated. Plus, it's a wedding. I'm fine with a dress. Maya clasped her hands together.
See, I knew she could be reasoned with.
She smiled smugly at Frankie. I didn't see what the fuss was about. Traditionally, brides wore dresses. It never once entered my mind to not wear a dress. I supposed over the many years that I'd had to work at the chapel, I did see plenty of women stumble through the doors wearing party clothes. Most of them were in skirts or shorts, a few dresses, some jeans. But that would be a drunk wedding, and there was no getting drunk in my near future.
I know what we'll do,
Frankie said, swiping the courtesy notepad and pen from the end table.
Since everyone seems to be tight-lipped, we'll put all of our suggestions in a hat, and whatever idea has the most votes, that's the one we'll use.
Caleb reached into his pocket and pulled out a buzzing phone.
It's Jessica.
He frowned before answering it. He stood and with a quick kiss to the top of my head, he excused himself into our room and closed the door slightly, leaving it cracked open. I tried to listen to the conversation, but with Frankie and Maya chattering, I couldn't quite make out what he was saying. Knowing Jessica, it was just a call to go over his schedule for the next day. However, she normally called earlier than this. The pad of paper and pen were passed to me. Maya and Frankie looked expectantly. I thought about all the different options and wrote the one I would have planned. It was moments later that Caleb reappeared. He gave me a quick kiss.
I have to go.
What's going on?
Jessica forgot to put an event on my calendar. It's tonight at Lost City.
You can't go, I said. We have to stay here.
I don't have a choice. I had requested this event specifically. It's for charity. If I don't show up for my own event, it'll look bad.
How are you going to make it past the guards?
I know them. It'll be fine.
I gave a slight nod. Good luck.
Who needs luck when I've got you?
With a quick wink, he headed for the door. I hadn't noticed, but the room had quieted and Maya gushed a very loud,
Oh.
I don't think you'll get past security.
Grayson said, stalling Caleb.
Remy threatened their very lives if they let anybody through.
I think he can finagle his way through.
Ian said.
Should we place a bet?
Mark asked.
Everyone who thinks he can make it past security, raise your hand.
Ian and Jenna raised their hands. Everyone else kept them down. With a wounded expression, Caleb glanced at me. I gave a small shrug. I know Remy. No one's getting out of here.
Unless we work together,
Frankie said. The gleam in his eye was unmistakable. He was up to mischief. However, it was for Caleb, so a little mischief was okay.
What if we lure security in here?
Maya asked.
It might work.
Ian said. Caleb shook his head.
Don't bother. I'll try getting through first. I'm pretty sure it's against the law to keep a man against his will.
After he strode out of the room, we waited and listened for sounds. After a few minutes, Ian asked,
Did he actually make it?
No, that's impossible.
Grayson said.
Remy wouldn't have allowed him through so easily.
But Remy's not the one standing there.
David said.
If Caleb got out, anyone else can get in.
Ian said. David quickly stood.
Stay here.
And before anyone could say anything else, he was out the door.
I hate when he does that.
Maya said, rubbing her belly.
He can't stop himself.
He'll be fine, I said. He's just checking on the guards.
Oh, I know.
She said, sitting next to me.
It's just he always runs straight into danger without a second thought. Not even about me or the baby.
I'm sure his thoughts are only of you and the baby. Otherwise, why would he care about the guards?
Well, it doesn't seem that way.
David returned to the room, shutting the door behind him and bolting it.
We have a problem.
What's wrong?
Grayson asked, standing.
The guards are gone.
What do you mean gone?
Ian asked, standing as well.
They deserted their posts. There's no one there.
What about Caleb? I asked.
There's no sign of him. He might have gone to his event.
He would have come back to let us know there were no guards.
Call him and make sure he's okay.
David said. Then he turned to Grayson.
Call Remy.
What are you going to do?
Grayson asked as David unbolted the door and peeked out.
I know where Remy keeps his armory. Lock the door as soon as I leave. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
No.
Maya said.
Stay here with us. If the guards are gone, it might not be safe.
Exactly. That's why I need to get to the armory.
He looked at her as if willing her to understand. And then he slipped out the door, and right before he closed it, he said,
Bolt it.
Ian stepped over and slid the latch in place.
Aren't you going after him?
Maya asked, her eyes already beginning to dampen.
David knows what he's doing.
Ian said.
We thought Remy knew what he was doing. And now, look what happened.
Don't worry, Maya.
Grayson said.
We don't want David to get hurt either. We'll come up with a plan. But first, I need to call Remy.
As Grayson pulled out his phone, I had already dialed Caleb. It rang 5 times and then went to voicemail. Maybe he couldn't hear his phone. I tried a simple text. No answer. Okay, don't panic. He was probably just en route to the event and was focused on that and not his phone. Yes, that was possible. Whenever I was in a rush, I would do the same thing. Grayson shook his head, muttering a curse.
He's not answering.
Try Ava,
Maya said.
I don't have her phone number, do you?
Maya gave Grayson a withering stare.
She's family. You need to have her phone number.
I'll add her as a contact once we have this all figured out.
Maya dug through her purse and found her phone, but pretty soon she was shaking her head as well.
No answer.
Gwen stood next to Ian.
We're not safe here.
I know, but now we're stuck. Everyone who stepped out of this room has disappeared.
Ian said.
We'll keep trying to reach everyone and wait for David.
Grayson said.
Once David returns, we can figure out a plan.
I dialed Caleb again, but there was still no answer. Tension clawed its way up my back and neck. Maya took my hand and held it.
It'll be okay,
she said with a brave face, as if convincing herself it would be true.
How many times have I been through this? And each time, everything worked out fine.
For the first time, I truly had a glimpse into Maya's world. This wasn't a one-time thing for her. It was a part of her life. How many times did she have to wait and worry over David? How many years did she think he was dead? The suffering that she must have been through had to be unbearable. And yet here she sat, holding my hand as if it were only me who had the problem.
He'll be back soon,
Ian said.
If nothing else, David is stubborn. He won't let anything come between you and him.
Maya attempted a smile.
I know.
But while she sat and tried to be brave, I grew angry. How many times have we all been in danger? How many scrapes did we have to go through before this would all end? Where's Sergio? I asked. I need to speak with him.
I think he's in his room with Rosie,
Frankie said.
He said he would come by a little later.
Which room? Frankie shrugged.
I don't know.
I quickly dialed Sergio and then cursed when it went to voicemail. Why is no one answering their phone?
Maybe they want to be left alone,
Mark said.
We need to warn him,
Ian said. But how do we warn him when we don't even know what room he's in and he's not picking up his phone? I asked.
Once David gets back, we can knock on every door,
Grayson said.
There's no one else on this floor except for us.
But after 15 minutes of waiting, no answers, and no David, I stood. I'm going to find Sergio. Sergio was the only one who had answers. He was supposed to help plan a strategy. Where in the hell was he? Caleb, David, Remy, and Ava were all out there, and no one had heard from them. I was not going to sit and wait.
I'll come with you,
Maya said, struggling to stand. Maya, please stay here. You wouldn't be able to run if you had to.
I'm not going to stay here while you go out.
We'll stay with you,
Frankie said, with Mark's nodding agreement. Mark hurried over and sat next to Maya.
We'll watch reality TV and make fun of how ridiculous they are.
It will help pass the time.
Frankie sat on the other side of Maya with the TV remote. Maya sighed.
I guess I wouldn't be much help anyway. But I demand to have updates. As soon as you find Sergio, you let me know what's going on.
The rest of us will come with you,
Grayson said to me. I nodded and hurried out the door. Grayson, Jenna, and I headed down one side of the hallway while Ian and Gwen went the other way. I banged on the door with my fist, waited for sound, and then continued. I banged on the next door. Still nothing. When I got to the third door, Grayson stopped me.
You're going to hurt your hand.
I'm not even thinking about my hand right now.
But you will be later when it's bruised and swollen. How many times have you landed in the hospital?
It was more than I wanted to admit. So, at the next door, I let him knock on it. We all listened and then moved on. It was a few minutes later when we reconvened in Frankie and Mark's room. No one was able to find Sergio or Rosie.
I tried calling them while you were out. No answer.
What should we do now?
Frankie asked. I'm going to Lost City Casino.
Why?
Grayson asked. Because that's where Caleb is playing in an event tonight. I need to make sure he's okay.
I'll go with you.
Grayson said quickly, to which Jenna raised a brow. No, I'll go on my own. You guys need to find the others.
You might need me. I can get you into the events room.
I hadn't thought of that, but it really didn't matter. I just need to verify he's there. I don't actually have to stay. I should be fine.
Actually, you might be turned away.
He winced. Why? And then I remembered. I thought you lifted the ban on me?
I did, I swear. But when I left the company, the papers hadn't been filed. Technically, you're still blacklisted.
I stared at him with a mix of shock and dismay.
Let's go now. I can get this all sorted.
I can't believe I'm still banned. It wasn't even my fault.
I know. I meant to get it squared away before you came back. Honest.
An awkward silence ballooned between us. This was not the time nor the place to worry about this. I gave a quick nod. Okay, let's go now. The more time we waste... I couldn't finish the sentence. The thought that Caleb could be in danger frightened me. Let me just get my purse, I said, turning away before I could shed a tear. I blamed my runaway emotions on my hormones, but I knew it was more than that. If anything ever happened to Caleb... No, he was probably fine. He was in a rush to get to the casino, and once he started playing, he turned off his phone. I hurried into my room and grabbed my purse. I took out my wallet and keys and left everything else. I returned to find Grayson and Jenna whispering to each other. I couldn't see his face since his back was turned to me, but her expression said enough. She was not happy. I assumed it was because Grayson was leaving to go to the casino with me. I didn't know if she was jealous or if it was something else, but I felt horrible he needed to come. However, Grayson didn't file the papers. Did he stall because he resented me for choosing Caleb? I waited for a moment, not wanting to interrupt them. A quick glance over at Frankie, Maya, and Mark told me they weren't going to interrupt either. I pointed to myself in question, wondering if the argument was about me. They all nodded. With a sigh, I said, Jenna should come with us. The whispering stopped as both of them looked over at me.
I don't think that's wise.
Because it's unsafe?
Of course.
If you hadn't noticed, it's not safe here either. Grayson paused for a moment and then nodded.
That would be, yes.
It was as if Grayson was in agreement, but also hesitant. I wondered at that.
If it's not safe, why are we staying here?
Frankie asked. David should be back soon.
Let's wait for him to get back, and then we can form two different parties,
Grayson said.
Every time one of us leaves, we don't seem to come back,
Ian said.
This time we'll be two groups. It's harder to ambush a group than a single person.
So, you think they were ambushed?
No, but we don't know what happened to them either. Until someone starts answering their phone, we're in the dark.
How long should we wait before we leave? I asked.
Give David another 5 minutes. This building takes at least a good 5 minutes to walk across, and that's if nobody is standing in his way.
Nadia, why don't you sit down until we decide what to do?
Ian said.
You're starting to look a little pale.
When hasn't she looked pale?
Frankie asked. I slid an annoyed glance at Frankie and then gingerly sat on the sofa. I did need a couple of minutes to regroup. We all sat in silence, avoiding eye contact with each other. I turned my attention to Gus. While I wouldn't want to be a cat, right now I'd trade places with him. He was so peaceful, curled into a U shape. His pudgy tummy still wouldn't allow him a full circle. Mark hand-delivering him treats every 5 minutes probably didn't help his situation. However, I wouldn't mind the coddling attention. Caleb tried to be attentive to me in my pregnant state, and most of the time he was successful at knowing what I needed before I did. But I was still a mess, and even Caleb had his capable hands full. It made me envy women who wore pregnancy like an accessory, the ones who glowed and kept their figure. The only reason the scale was slow moving for me was because anything I ate came back up. Round trip ticket.
Has it been 5 minutes yet?
Maya asked. Ian shook his head.
Another minute.
Maya tried to cross her arms, but her protruding belly stopped her. She let her arms fall to her side in defeat.
He'll be okay. Think about how many missions he's been on. A simple trip through a hotel casino is nothing.
We all held on to that thought. But when 30 minutes had passed, we knew he wasn't coming. It was time to act. Chapter 7. Frankie and Mark decided to come with me to the Lost City Casino to find Caleb. He still hadn't answered his phone, and David was still MIA. Ian and Grayson were attempting to find David while Jenna and Gwen stayed with Maya.
I don't like this.
Frankie said, clinging to Mark in the back seat of my rental car.
We're going to be ambushed at any moment.
We'll be fine, I said, hoping for the best.
No, we won't. It's just the three of us. Last time I checked, none of us can fight.
Not true.
Mark said.
You held your own in that cat fight.
That was 10 years ago, and I was wearing nails. We should have stayed with the others.
Grayson and Ian are going to look for David. He is their priority. Mine is Caleb.
But you still aren't allowed in Lost City. We aren't going to get very far.
I was positive I didn't need Grayson's help. It was bad history under the bridge. No one would remember me. Plus, Jenna seemed relieved when Grayson said he would look for David instead of Caleb. I parked in the lot and turned off the engine. We all looked at the towering casino. In the past, this casino had felt like a second home, but now it was just a brightly lit reminder of so many things gone wrong. However, I ended up with Caleb. If none of the bad things had ever happened, would I have still wound up with him?
We'll just wait here,
Frankie said.
No, we have to help her blend in.
Mark said. In those outfits?
We told you to change. Mark had a dress you could have squeezed into.
And that would have helped me to blend in, I asked the two men wearing matching powder blue leisure suits and white leather platform boots. Frankie smoothed back his hair.
Don't hate the look. It's the rage.
For lounge performers in the 70s.
We should try to get a gig here. Wouldn't that be fun?
Forget danger. I rushed out of the car before they could discuss any harebrained ideas. I had been dragged through too many of their schemes. No more.
What's the plan?
Frankie asked when he caught up with me. To find Caleb.
You're just going to walk through the front door?
Yes. It's an event night. There will be too many people here to worry about one person who was unjustly banned. I walked through the glass doors, never expecting anyone to recognize me. But once again, Vegas slapped me.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but I have to ask you to leave,
A security guard said.
That was quick.
Mark said.
Where were you hiding?
And how long can you stay?
Frankie asked with a wink. Mark gasped at Frankie.
Do I need to remind you that you are in a committed relationship?
What's the problem? You always flirt with the Miller brothers.
That's because they're straight and it's fun.
I'm straight,
The guard said.
See? No problem.
Yes, there is a problem. You didn't know he was straight until now, which means you don't give a boa feather about our relationship.
Frankie glanced up at the ceiling and gave a short sigh.
I knew he was straight. Look at those sloppy collars. No gay guy would dare step out in public with those.
Mark shrugged.
You make a valid point, but you still shouldn't flirt with strangers.
But with people we know it's okay?
While Frankie and Mark distracted the guard, I slowly inched away and then bolted into the crowded casino. Security would still be able to find me, but it'd be more difficult. Thankfully, I knew all the shortest routes, and within a few minutes I had my sights on the event room. But before I could reach it, another guard stepped in front of me, blocking my path. Grayson said he took me off the list, I said.
Mr. Miller no longer works here.
I heard he consults.
That's above my pay grade. You need to leave.
Fine, I will. But can you tell me if Caleb Usher is here?
Sorry, no.
He's my fiancé,
And I'm his mom.
he said sarcastically.
Listen, I don't care who he is. We don't give out information.
I think he's in trouble. Can you just check?
No.
Would you rather I call the police?
Yes, then they can arrest you for trespassing.
He smiled smugly. Damn. I could feel the heat rising to my face, tears brimming to the surface.
Don't cry.
He ordered. I'm not. I don't cry. And yet my face was already being assaulted by salty tears.
Tears don't work on me. Do you know how many girls have tried that stunt before?
I'm not crying to guilt you into anything. However, if he gave in, that would be okay too. Everyone is disappearing and I'm trying to find Caleb. He's not answering his phone. I wiped the tears off on my sleeve.
He doesn't answer his phone during tournaments.
So you do know him?
Never said I didn't.
Exasperated, I crossed my arms and glared at him.
Time to go.
He said, clasping his hand around my arm. I yanked my arm away. I'll walk on my own. Turning away, I was preparing to take another humiliating escorted walk to the exit until I heard,
Nadia, it's about time you got here.
I didn't think the night could get much worse, but I looked over to find Jessica cutting a path to me.
Where in the hell is Caleb?
I don't know. I'm trying to find him. Something bad is happening.
Of course something bad is happening. The tournament is being televised and he's not in his seat. They're taking the blinds from his stack until he arrives, or until it's gone and he loses by default. This is a PR nightmare.
Jessica, it's worse than that. I think he's in danger. She glared at me, tossing her dark hair off her shoulder.
What have you gotten him into this time?
Me?
Yes, you. You and your friends have been nothing but trouble.
It's not me.
Who abducted me?
She questioned. I did, but that was when I thought you had stolen Caleb's money. This is different.
How?
Sergio's cousin Alfonso is back in town. He wants revenge.
On Caleb?
Not really, but we figure he's on the list.
What list?
Alfonso's revenge bucket list. I don't know, I said, annoyed. I didn't have time for this.
Don't try to make up excuses.
I'm not. This is real.
Fine, then we'll have to make do.
She brushed away the security guard and proceeded to march me to the events room. Where are we going? I have to find Caleb.
I'll find Caleb. You will play in his place. Don't embarrass us.
Jessica, I'm not playing in the tournament. Caleb is in trouble, and I'm not even allowed in this casino anymore. I was just about to get escorted out by security.
I'll deal with security.
I glanced behind me to find the guard was keeping up with us and speaking into his radio. From his furrowed brow, I could only assume he was calling for backup. Jessica, stop. You're making this worse.
Just sit your butt in the chair and I'll take care of the rest.
Arguing with her was futile. As soon as we arrived at Caleb's designated table, I sat down. It was only a matter of time before we would be accosted by security, or she would turn her attention to PR matters. Then I could escape. Either way, Caleb's stack was in serious jeopardy. I could push all in and get rid of it in one hand. I waited until the current hand was played and I was dealt in. By the time the cards landed in front of me, a team of guards had arrived. With pure determination, Jessica maneuvered them beyond camera range. Never looking at my cards, I pushed all of my chips in. One player called. Since we were heads up, we flipped our cards over to reveal them. I silently groaned. Pocket aces. Here I wanted to lose the hand, and I had a killer pair. The dealer laid the flop, the turn, and the river. And to my horror, I won. I glanced over to find Jessica wagging her finger at the guards. I actually felt sorry for them. It was still too soon to make my escape, so I pushed my chips in again. All in. No one called, which meant I won the pot. 2 more guards arrived. Good. This would soon be over. I pushed all in again. I won. Damn it. Why couldn't this luck come when I needed it? Of course, because technically it was bad luck. Now that I was back in Vegas, my luck had once again been poisoned. Glancing over at the guards, I noticed the original guard watching me. I waved him over. He broke free from the group and walked over. "Can you please kick me out?" I asked.
You want me to kick you out?
He asked, confused. Yes. I need to get out of here.
I thought you wanted to stay. Jessica was just about to clear it with the supervisor.
No, I have to leave. Just escort me out before it's too late.
I'd rather wait until they've made a decision. I'm not getting fired over this.
I need to get out of here.
Then leave. I won't stop you.
It looked like I didn't have much of a choice. He wasn't going to cooperate, and I had already wasted too much time. I glanced over at Jessica, and just as I was about to dash away, she turned to me and pointed. The guards grudgingly nodded.
Looks like she got her way.
The guard said. It didn't surprise me. She had a way of getting what she wanted. But right now, I had to find Caleb. Ignoring the hand dealt to me, I sat and pondered. Where do I go from here? With a spring in her step, Jessica hurried over.
You are allowed to stay here for the tournament. After that, we have to petition the casino to remove your status.
Great, I said, mostly ignoring her.
Say it like you mean it. It was hard work just getting them to let you stay.
Jessica, I'm tired and worried. I don't want to be here.
Until we find Caleb, you don't have a choice. Now sit here and I'll look for him.
I faked a smile, willing her to leave.
Don't smile at me like that.
Why not?
Because it means you're up to something and it's creepy. Just sit here and I'll be right back. And don't try to leave. The guards are under strict orders to keep you here.
The guards would never keep me here against my will. But instead of arguing, which would just prolong our conversation, I smiled again.
Stop it,
she demanded. Jessica squared her shoulders, shot me one withering glare, and turned to leave. As soon as she was out of view, I stood and headed to the front door. Where were Frankie and Mark? I had lost them in the confusion. Since I drove, I headed to the car, hoping they would be there waiting for me. No such luck. I sat in the car and locked the doors. My first call was to Caleb, hoping he would answer. I listened to his voicemail greeting before I hung up. I was already starting to miss his voice. Taking a fortifying breath, I called Grayson next. Did you find David? I asked as soon as he answered.
No, did you find Caleb?
No, what do we do now?
We're heading to my house. Come over and we'll figure out a plan.
Do you think it's safe?
We'll secure the gate and set the alarm. It's as safe as we're going to get right now.
What about the guests staying there?
As soon as we heard about Sergio's cousin, we transferred them all to hotels and comped their stays.
Oh, that's good.
So you'll meet us there?
Yes, I just have to find Frankie and Mark.
I thought they were with you.
They were. I lost track of them when the security guard stopped me.
I'm sorry about that, Nadia. I really am. But don't go looking for them. Just come to the house.
I can't leave them here. What if they're in trouble?
Then you'll end up following them into trouble.
While he had a valid point, I wasn't going to abandon them. I'll see if I can get in touch with them without leaving my car.
Keep your doors locked. If you can't find them in 5 minutes, then leave. I'm serious. Anyone can break your windows if they want.
Okay, I'll leave soon if I can't reach them.
Promise?
Promise. Disconnecting with Grayson, I quickly called Caleb. I knew it was a long shot, but I was still hoping for the best. When he didn't answer, I called Frankie first and then Mark. Neither answered, so I left a message to call me back as soon as possible. I didn't want to say where I was headed in case the call was intercepted, but if Frankie and Mark were now MIA in such a short amount of time, Alfonso must have hired help. I drove to Grayson's house. checking my rearview mirror every few seconds to make sure I wasn't being followed. In the city, it was nearly impossible to detect, but not out on the deserted country road. Only one vehicle had followed me for a mile until it turned, leaving me thankfully alone. As soon as I reached the gate, it opened automatically. Grayson must have been watching for me. I parked in the front near Grayson's and Ian's vehicles. Grayson greeted me at the front door and hurried me inside.
Did anyone follow you?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive. I was watching.
Good. Ian and the girls are in the living room. Why don't you join them and I'll be along in a minute?
Okay, but Grayson, I don't think Alfonso is working alone. I can't reach Frankie or Mark.
That makes me even more worried.
He was about to shoo me into the other room when I stopped him. Will this ever end? I asked.
I hope so.
He said, tucking me in for a brief hug.
I don't know how many more lives either of us have left.
It can't be many, I agreed. I'll go in with the others.
Nadia, we'll find Caleb. We'll find them all.
I know. I just hope it's not too late. He gave a nod.
Me too.
I trudged into the living room, feeling the weight caving around my shoulders. The others stopped talking as soon as they saw me. Maya hurried over as fast as her waddling body would allow.
We heard you couldn't find Caleb. We haven't been able to find David either.
8 people are missing, I said miserably.
8? I thought it was 6.
Frankie and Mark are MIA now, too.
Oh no.
She sniffled into a tissue she had clutched in her hand. Ian scrubbed his hand over his face, looking every bit as tired and worried as we were all feeling.
I'll get a room ready for you,
Jenna said.
It's getting late.
Oh no, you don't have to, I said.
You know we have plenty of space. I won't have you sleeping on a sofa when we have beds available.
You might as well agree,
Grayson said, walking into the room.
We're all here for the night.
But what about the others? I asked.
We're no good to them if we get nabbed too. We'll come up with a plan and stay here until morning.
Sounds like a long night,
Gwen said, heading to the kitchen.
I'll make coffee.
Thank you,
Ian said. My stomach shifted and a wave of nausea hit me. I sat down on the couch.
Are you okay?
Maya asked. Just a little queasy. I'll be fine. She sat down next to me and held my hand.
We'll get through this together.
I knew she didn't mean my nausea. I squeezed her hand. She was so much stronger than I was. Fiasco after fiasco, she kept herself going. Me, I wanted to curl up into a ball and wish it all away. But I couldn't. Not when there were so many people counting on us. Where do we begin? I asked. Grayson sat down across from us.
I don't know.
Chapter 8. Throughout the night, we took shifts watching the gate. We had realized we weren't going to make a worthy plan when we were tired and stressed. So, instead of planning a grand rescue mission, we tried to rest in our hideout. At first, it was just going to be Ian and Grayson taking turns as the lookout, but the girls rebelled against them, stating it was ludicrous not to use everyone. I agreed. I was nearly last on the list as lookout, so I waited in a guest bedroom for my turn, noticing the changes Jenna had made. It was more of a home now and less of a tax deduction. She had added homey touches to the original design, which of course had had no expense spared. Extra pillows on the bed, a few plants in corners and on tables, extra seating, luxurious robes, and an array of guest items beyond just soap and shampoo. When I scoped out the hospitality basket, I was amazed to find lip balm, aloe, sunscreen, gum, breath mints, feminine products, and shaving items. For the rest of the night, I lay in bed, waiting for my turn. We were supposed to sleep, but how could I? I bet none of the others were able to sleep either, making the entire night a waste of time. It was 4 in the morning when I felt a familiar presence in the room. I didn't say anything at first, thinking he would speak. When he didn't, I leaned up to look at him. "Is it my turn?" I asked.
Yes.
Grayson said. I heard his light footsteps as he drew near.
I didn't want to wake you, though. I can take another turn if you'd rather sleep. It's no problem.
I sat up and leaned against the headboard. No, I want to. I haven't been able to sleep very well anyway. I keep drifting in and out.
I know you're worried. We all are.
Swinging my legs off the bed, I stood. It must have been too quick of a movement. For a moment, my head spun, sending me back down on the bed.
Are you okay?
I stood up too fast. I'm fine.
Let me take the next shift. You're in no condition to do it.
No, I'm fine, really. He didn't say anything for a moment, and I knew he was worried about me. Thank you, I said.
For what?
For caring. I know this has to be awkward for you. I feel it too.
It is a little, but we've been through a lot together. We'll get through this too.
I like Jenna, I said, standing again, this time slower. Someday you'll have to tell me how you met.
I'll let her tell you. She puts a better spin on it.
He wrapped his arm around my shoulders to steady me in case I might fall.
Are you okay to walk?
Yes, I'm fine now. Thank you. We walked to the door together. I didn't mind that Grayson's arm was still around me. I took comfort in it. I hoped he was right about getting through this. It was nice to have his support. He opened the door and gave me a quick kiss on the top of my head.
If you need anything, let me know.
Thank you. I should be fine. He gave me a gentle squeeze before letting go. We turned to find Jenna standing across the hall. Her eyes widened before snapping down into a glare.
Jenna, is everything okay? I thought you were sleeping.
With a stormy expression and pinched lips, she turned and hurried away.
I think I'm in trouble.
I had the same thought, but Jenna couldn't truly believe anything would happen between us. However, seeing her reaction, I thought Grayson had a lot of groveling to do. Do you want me to talk to her? I asked.
No, I will.
He raked his hand through his dark hair.
She's reasonable, just tired.
You look a little tired yourself. Go to sleep. I'll be fine.
You know what to do if you see anyone, right?
Yes. He paused as if waiting for me to recite the plan. I'll trigger the alarm and immediately dial 911.
Good,
he said, and then followed in the direction Jenna had taken. Good luck, I muttered under my breath. I wished the best for him, but Jenna was mad. I had seen her expression turn from confusion to shock and then to anger. I understood it. How many times had I gone through the same reaction when dealing with Grayson and Caleb? I walked to the front window on the second floor. It had a cozy sitting room that overlooked the front gate. The easiest access to the house was from the front, even though the gate was locked. Someone with a small amount of skill could override it or smash through it. When Grayson had it built, it wasn't to protect against criminals. It was more of a deterrent for pesky snoopers. From the back and side yards, Alfonso and his thugs would have to hop an 8-foot fence and then trek the 10 acres to get to the house, which was locked down and alarmed. So, the general consensus was that they would crash the gate and front door, which would take a lot less time and effort than coming from elsewhere. Only time would tell. I sat down in the chair and looked out over the prettily lit lawn, which would have been a source of comfort had a madman not been somewhere beyond it. And that's who we were dealing with. A madman. I tried to recall all of the details I knew about him. He was a member of the Ortugas cartel. Once the father had died and Sergio's brother took over, Alfonso tried to overthrow him. He was close to succeeding had Sergio not stepped in. Alfonso had killed many people. He'd even attempted to kill Jenna and her brother. I thought about that. I didn't know the full story, only that her brother had accidentally stolen drugs or something like that. I would have to ask her in the morning for more details. Perhaps that would shed more light on Alfonso. That was if she was still on speaking terms with me. Hopefully, Grayson would sort it out. Taking my phone from my pocket, I glanced at it, hoping there'd be a message from Caleb or the others. Nothing. Desperate to hear Caleb's voice, I called his phone if only to listen to his outgoing message. His voice sent a chill through me. It was as if his recording was a ghost. Was that hurried message going to be the only thing that I had left in the world to remember him by?
You've reached Caleb. Leave a message.
I love you, I said, and then ended the call. Well, it wouldn't be the only reminder. I still had his baby. Placing a hand over my stomach, I made a bunch of promises that I had no control over. I'll find your daddy. The night had been uneventful, and as we all regrouped in the large galley kitchen early in the morning, starved for information and food, we remained silent until Maya broke into tears. I watched as everyone tried to console her.
I thought David would be back by now,
she said in between sniffles.
He's escaped from so many places. Why isn't he back yet?
It was a thought I'd had during my watch. David was known for getting out of scrapes, but at the same time, I knew Alfonso wouldn't miss his chance to kill David. David had gone underground to watch the Ortugas family. That was his original mission so long ago. Alfonso would not be kind to David if caught. I kept my thoughts to myself. No one wanted to hear what we already knew. Ian sat next to me, a large coffee in his hands. He slid it over.
Decaf.
I miss caffeine.
Once you have the baby, you can drink it by the gallon. You'll need it then anyway,
he said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Gwen sat down next to him and covered his hand with hers.
It looks as though none of us got any sleep. How are you holding up, Nadia?
Good, thank you.
You're a horrible liar, but that's okay. I understand.
Gwen glanced around the room, her eyes resting on each person for a moment before moving to the next.
We need to come up with a better plan than just surviving.
I agree. But what?
I think I have an idea, I said. I hadn't mentioned it before because I knew they'd think I was crazy. But since we were stuck here, and no one was about to turn their backs on the missing, then why not? I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't try to save Caleb, even if it was a harebrained scheme. And what would I tell my fatherless child? Sorry, sweetheart, you don't have a daddy because your mom is a coward. No, I couldn't let it go down like that. But even so, this crazy idea would most likely kill us all.
What is it?
Let him come to us.
And then we fight him?
No, we let him take us. The room quieted.
We let him take us?
Jenna echoed.
Then we would be in the same boat as the rest,
Ian said. Yes, but if we take a stand, someone is bound to get hurt or worse. He must have people working for him, so he won't be alone and he'll be armed. If we let him take us, then we can find the others.
We'll be locked up with the others,
Gwen said.
and that's assuming he didn't kill them right away.
Maya squeaked and rushed out of the room.
Oh,
Gwen said, seeing how her words had affected Maya.
I should have thought before I spoke. I'll go find her and apologize.
When Gwen stood, Ian squeezed her hand and then let go. Listen, I know it's an insane idea, I said, but it hasn't even been 24 hours, so we still can't fill out a missing persons report. As time ticks by, we are losing. Believe me, I don't want to face Alfonso, and I don't want to be held against my will, but I don't see any other options. Do you? No one said anything.
There has to be another way,
Ian said. Then let's think of one, I said. Personally, I was out of ideas, but I was willing to listen to anything.
I think we're too close to this,
Grayson said.
What do you mean?
Jenna asked.
We're already in the rabbit hole. We all have tunnel vision right now. We need to take a step back and look at it from a different angle.
It does feel a little like tunnel vision, I agreed, like we can only run blindly forward or retreat.
Exactly. There are always other ways. Always.
So what is it? I asked.
What is his motivation?
Revenge.
Ian said.
What else?
We all stared at each other. I really didn't know. Does he care about the family business anymore? I asked.
Perhaps, perhaps not.
Well, that didn't clear anything up,
Money.
Ian said.
He must have some tucked away if he's able to hire thugs.
True.
Grayson paced along the kitchen. I had seen that pace several times.
But he's spending money on revenge, so that leads us back in a circle. What else?
Does he care about anyone?
Jenna asked.
Not from what I've heard.
Ian said.
He's willing to kill his own family.
There has to be something that can tip the scales.
He's upset because the family business he wanted to take over is destroyed, I said, thinking out loud. Sergio played a leading role in that, but we all helped in a way. We took down Daigor and then helped Sergio.
You're making my head spin. I get that we are all a little to blame. Yet how does that help us?
I don't know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around all of this,
We keep coming back to revenge.
Grayson said.
Maybe this really is a rabbit hole, and we only have the two choices.
Jenna said. Grayson ran his hand through his hair, tugging at the ends. He let out an exasperated sigh.
Then do we retreat or plow forward?
Forward. We can still call the police. We can still take precautions. But I can't retreat. My soul wouldn't allow it, and I knew it was the same for the others.
What about Maya?
Ian asked.
We can't have her waddling into battle with us?
There'll be no battle, I hope. But you're right. We can't let her know what we're doing. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if anything happened to her.
We'll probably all die, and then you won't have to worry.
Ian said. Then he frowned.
I was joking, but that didn't sit right.
She's bound to come back any minute. We'll need a plan for Alfonso and a plan for Maya. Grayson gave a nod.
Jenna, contact everyone you can think of. Police, FBI, CIA. We need as many eyes and ears on this as we can get. I don't give a damn about waiting periods. Ian, find out anything you can about where Alfonso might be hiding. Research abandoned buildings, warehouses that might be vacant, any place you can think of. I'll check into Alfonso's finances. Maybe he's left a paper trail.
What about me?
Nadia, you distract Maya. Keep her busy.
Dear Lord, that was probably the hardest job of them all. Gwen seems to have her well in hand, I said.
No, I'll need her to watch the house. You are the best person for Maya. Since you both have babies on the way, she'll be easily distracted if you talk to her about that.
I nodded in agreement. It was true. She was easily distracted by the mention of babies or baby paraphernalia. Even the subject of cloth versus disposable diapers could keep her occupied for hours.
Let's regroup in the great room in an hour. Nadia, you'll need to keep Maya away.
Someone will have to give me an update. I can't sit and talk about baby stuff forever.
We will.
Grayson promised.
We'll find a way.
I hated this. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy spending time with Maya, and I certainly needed insights into this whole baby thing, but there was too much at stake to think of anything other than helping our friends. I stood to go find Maya and Gwen. It took a few minutes to traverse the first floor and then hike up to the second floor. I found them sitting in the lookout room. Gwen, Ian needs to speak with you,
Oh, okay.
she said, turning to Maya.
Will you be okay for a little bit?
Maya nodded. She dabbed her eyes with a tissue. I'll stay with her, I said. Relieved, Gwen stood and made her way downstairs. I took her spot in a comfy armchair next to Maya. We sat in silence for a minute before I asked, "What does it feel like when the baby kicks?" She smiled and looked down at her belly.
At first it was a little tickle, like butterflies, but now I have a ninja baby. Some of the kicks can knock the wind from me.
That hard? She shrugged.
I might be exaggerating a little, but this kid is a fighter just like his daddy.
Her eyes glistened, threatening to tear up. Did you think of any names? I asked, trying to keep the conversation going.
I keep changing my mind. Right now, it's Julia if it's a girl, Boyer if it's a boy, but I'll probably change my mind again.
Maybe you need to meet the baby before you decide. She smiled.
I think so too. I can't wait.
I'm good with waiting.
That's because you're still in your first trimester. You'll change your mind in your third. I'm sick of having puffy ankles and peeing every time I sneeze or laugh.
Don't forget waddling. She grinned right before she swatted me.
I'm really happy we're going to have babies so close together. I was feeling a little alone.
Alone? Your family doubled in size with the addition of Gwen and Jenna.
Yes, but none of them are ready to have a baby. David and I have been together so long that it was natural and something we really wanted. But none of his brothers are even married yet. They're still going out in the evening and enjoying each other's company. They aren't in the family planning stage.
I kind of skipped that, didn't I? I asked.
Yes, but you and Caleb are different.
How?
You both adapt to wherever you are and whatever you're doing. A baby would be no different.
I didn't feel very adaptable, but I wouldn't argue the point. It was nice to hear that someone thought I wouldn't totally suck at being a mother. Maya's brows furrowed as she groaned, holding her belly. What's wrong? I asked.
I just got cramps.
What does that mean? Are you having the baby? I asked, on the verge of panicking.
No, it's probably just those fake contractions. I heard the hospital will send you home if you go in too soon.
Fake contractions?
Sometimes you can get contractions that seem like the real thing. I'm not due yet, so I'm sure that's what they are.
I need to learn more about this, I said, wondering what other things I might need to expect. I didn't, however, want to know that I could expect early contractions. Her brows pinched together again. Another one? I asked. She nodded, breathing in short pants as she strangled the armrest. Can I get you anything? What would help relieve a contraction besides hard drugs? A heating pad or cold pack? She shook her head. I watched in horror as she breathed through her pain. Dear Lord, there was no way I'd survive this. I was doomed to die from the pain alone. Maya let go of the armrest, leaving indentations where her fingers had gripped, and she leaned back.
That one lasted a little longer?
And it looked like you were in more pain.
I was, but breathing helps.
How much?
Not much,
she admitted. Would you like me to get you something to drink? I seriously didn't know how to help her other than to fetch beverages.
No, I just want to relax for a bit.
Would you like to be alone?
No, just sit here with me.
Okay.
What is everyone doing?
Coming up with a plan, I said. I couldn't very well say they were twiddling their thumbs doing nothing.
What kind of plan?
Each one has an assignment. Hopefully they'll have some answers soon. So, is the baby room finished?
You already know Frankie and Mark helped me with the baby's room. Stop switching subjects. I know they don't want me involved because I can barely move anymore, but I still want to know what's going on. I hate waiting and not knowing.
I understood her completely. Being kept in the dark was hard. Right now, they're gathering information. Grayson is looking into Alfonso's finances. Jenna is calling the police and other bureaus. Ian is looking into places Alfonso might be hiding. And Gwen is now on lookout to make sure we don't get blindsided.
And you're stuck with me.
It's the best job, I said with a smile. Chapter 9. When we had exhausted all baby subjects and Maya's contractions subsided, we crept down the stairs to listen. We stood by the living room entryway, just beyond the group's sight. However, if anyone walked through, they would spot us right away. The room was flooded with sunlight from the tall windows, making the area cheerful and bright. It was in complete contrast to our current moods.
I found several offshore accounts,
Grayson said.
But it looks like they were abandoned. Only a few dollars are in each one. I'm not entirely sure they're Alfonso's. It could have been Sergio's fathers or brothers. I could research more, but I have a feeling I won't get much further.
I've contacted the authorities.
Jenna said.
Most were unhelpful. I've been told that someone would contact me, but it sounded more like I was being added to a very long list.
Hopefully someone will contact you soon. We have to press on with or without them. Ian, what did you find?
Too much, actually. I knew Vegas had warehouses and abandoned buildings, but I never knew how many until now.
I took Maya's hand and squeezed it. This was not good news.
Were you able to narrow it down at all?
Well, I just started. I have over 100 listings, and I've narrowed it down to just over 60.
That's still too many.
Especially since they might not even be at one of those locations.
Listening in?
Maya and I turned around to find Gwen had snuck up from behind us. I had been under the impression that she was in the room with the others. She wasn't shocked to see us standing at the doorway. Yes, and it doesn't sound good, I said.
I'm sorry,
she said, gathering her blonde hair into a ponytail.
I was sure that they would figure out something.
All they know is what we've always known. Alfonso could be anywhere.
Well, he's not here at least. It's been quiet all morning.
Too quiet, I agreed.
You don't think Alfonso decided he had enough revenge after kidnapping the others?
Maya asked, her hand gripping mine. He doesn't seem the type to give up, I said.
It's too bad we don't have Sergio's information on Alfonso,
Gwen said.
Even a small clue would help.
He might have left information, I said, thinking. What if it's in his room at the hotel? No one went inside to check. We just knocked on the door and left when there was no answer.
We should have scoured the room.
We left in a panic.
So do we go back?
Maya asked, hopeful. Gwen and I looked at each other. It was possible to go back, but would the rewards outweigh the risks?
I think this needs to be a group decision. If anyone leaves, they could be abducted.
Hello?
Grayson said, interrupting the conversation.
What does the group need to decide?
If it's worth going back to the hotel,
Gwen said. Sergio might have information in his room, I added.
It's not a good idea to leave.
Sergio was tracking Alfonso. He was keeping tabs on him. If there is a chance he has information, shouldn't we at least try? Grayson shook his head.
The only protection we have is staying behind these gates. If we leave, Alfonso will start to pick us off one by one, just like he did with the others.
But it doesn't sound like you're making any progress.
And it doesn't look like you are handling your one assignment very well.
Maya swatted his arm.
Stop it. I wanted to know what was happening. You can't keep me in the dark forever.
Maya, I'm only trying to keep you and the baby safe.
I know, but you're also treating me like a child. I'm married to your brother, and I want to know what I can do to help.
You can help by staying here where it's safe.
What else?
Nothing at the moment.
Maya frowned at him and was just about to say something when she hunched over.
Ow!
Are you having contractions again? I asked.
She was having contractions?
Grayson asked, his brows lifting high. She said it was those fake ones you can sometimes get.
I think they're real now,
she said with a groan.
My water broke.
Are you sure?
Grayson asked, suddenly looking very lost.
Of course I'm sure.
I don't see water,
he said, looking at the ground as if to find a lake.
If you must know, I'm wearing a pad. Every time I sneeze, cough, or laugh, I pee.
Oh,
he said, visibly uncomfortable. The truth was, I was uncomfortable too. She was going through something that would be in my near future. I'd rather be ignorant until the time came. We have to get her to the hospital, I said.
I'll drive. I'll get her settled at the hospital. The rest of you will follow in Ian's car. We have to stick together.
No, you concentrate on finding David and the others. Nadia will drive me to the hospital.
We have to stick together.
It's not up for a debate. No one in their right mind would want a woman in labor.
And as if on cue, she leaned and grabbed onto my shoulder. She squeezed hard as she let out a moaning wail. Grayson took a step forward and then a step back, clearly not knowing what to do. He ran his hand through his hair and looked at me for help. "I'll drive her to the hospital," I said. "Just keep searching for the others. I'll check in with you to let you know we're safe. She'll have medical staff around her while she's in labor, which will hopefully deter Alfonso." Grayson gave a slight nod and handed me his keys.
I don't like this, but I'll agree. Check in every 10 minutes.
"Okay," I said, taking the keys and then assisting Maya to the door. "Do you have a hospital bag packed?"
Yes, but it's at home. I'll be fine without it.
Grayson skirted around us and opened the front door, peering out to make sure it was clear.
Be safe.
At the car, I opened the passenger door and Maya slowly lowered herself into the seat. Hurrying around the luxury sedan that only Grayson could afford, I jumped in behind the wheel, easing into the leather seats. "At least he gave us a fast car," I said, revving the engine. My rental car was a Pinto compared to this. As soon as the gate opened, I gunned it down the road. Maya laughed when I turned out of the driveway. I thought it was an odd reaction, but maybe she was happy she was headed to the hospital where they had painkillers. "We should be there in 10 minutes as long as there's no traffic," I said.
We'll have to make a detour first.
I glanced at her. "I thought you didn't need the hospital bag."
I don't.
"Then what are you talking about?"
Let's go to the tropical rain and search Sergio's room.
"Shouldn't you have the baby first?"
No, I have plenty of time for that.
"How much time?"
A couple of weeks.
"You're going to have contractions for weeks?" I asked in horror.
No, silly. You really need to read that pregnancy book I gave you. I'm only having Braxton Hicks contractions. I fibbed to Grayson about my water breaking. He was never going to let me help.
"So you're not in labor?" I asked, trying to comprehend.
No. We're going to the hotel to search Sergio's room. I'll apologize to Grayson after we find information.
The rush of adrenaline to drive Maya to the hospital subsided until I realized the magnitude of what we were about to do. We were alone and unarmed. 8 people were already missing. We would probably be next, and yet I couldn't turn around. So I headed to the tropical rain. The rest of the car ride we remained silent, each lost in our thoughts. I couldn't help but think we were making a terrible mistake, yet we were running out of options. When I parked at the tropical rain, I left the car running as we scanned the parking lot and entrance. "Do you see anyone?" I asked.
I see lots of people.
You know what I mean.
Yes, but I'm not sure who I'm supposed to be watching out for. We don't know what Alfonso's hired men look like.
She had a point, which only made my nerves skyrocket. What in the hell were we thinking? We weren't just risking our lives, but those of our children. That thought settled hard on me. It wasn't as if I didn't know a baby was more than a pooping, pudgy bundle of drool, but time and time again I found myself shocked that I was responsible for her well-being. Dear Lord, what if the baby really was a girl? I had no idea what to do with a girl. I barely functioned as one.
Should we go in?
Hesitantly, I unbuckled my seatbelt and turned off the engine. But unlocking the door was a whole other matter to overcome. Fear ripped away my muscle control. I could barely hold the keys without shaking. And then something else hit me. "There's a problem," I said.
What?
"We don't know which room Sergio was assigned." Maya looked thoughtful for a moment.
Remy told David all of the fictitious names. I overheard. I can ask what room number he is in.
"They aren't allowed to give out that information, but we can ask them to ring the room. We can listen in the hallway for the telephone."
But then how do we get into the room?
"I doubt the hotel will hand the key to us."
You broke into a hotel room before.
"I had a crowbar then."
Maybe Grayson has one in the trunk.
It was possible. Grayson was known to be prepared for any occasion, but I doubted he was prepared for breaking and entering. I popped the trunk from my seat, took a breath, and then hurried out the door to the back. It was as I expected, completely clean. I lifted the bottom compartment lid and peeked inside to find a spare tire, jack, and crowbar. Bingo. I grabbed the bar and closed the trunk to find Maya at my side.
Hide it in your jeans.
If we weren't in very real danger, I might have been wistful about the memory of my last adventure with a crowbar in my pants. If it hadn't been a horrible experience, and the reason for my banishment from Lost City. I'm not sure it will fit, I said, unzipping my jeans. My pants are too snug.
That's because you're gaining pregnancy weight. Just keep the zipper open and cover it with your shirt. I had to do that several times before I switched to maternity clothes.
I carefully slid the crowbar down the side of my leg, hooking it on my jeans. I stretched my leg, making sure I could walk. You'll have to walk slow. I'm only able to bend one leg.
Walking slow is the only way I walk now.
We weren't going to survive a minute. Yet, something told me to keep going. It was as if there was a whisper in the air telling me that I had to, or I would never see Caleb or the others again. We slowly made our way into the casino, trying to blend in yet not quite achieving the desired effect. One of us was ready to pop and waddling like a duck, and the other had to step and hop, step and hop, step and hop.
I see the elevator. We're almost there.
Thank goodness. The bar was beginning to chafe my hip. Pretending to be interested in the slot machines, I scanned the casino looking for anyone with bad intentions written on their forehead. Sadly, there were too many who fit the profile. When we reached the elevator, Maya pressed the button and the doors opened immediately. I pressed the floor button and breathed a sigh of relief when the doors closed.
I hope no one stops on the other floors. I just want to get to Sergio's room as fast as we can.
I agreed. We stood together in the middle of the large carpeted elevator, watching the numbers count up. On the 8th floor, the elevator stopped. Maya and I hazarded a worried look to each other before the doors slid open and an elderly couple boarded and then pressed the 10th floor button.
"Hello, dears,"
the lady greeted. We tightly smiled back and returned her greeting.
"My grandson is getting married today."
Congratulations.
"Looks like congratulations are in order for you, too,"
she said, eyeing Maya's round tummy.
Thank you.
The elevator stopped on the 10th floor and the couple shuffled out. I let out a gust of air I had been holding back.
I was so worried when the elevator stopped.
Me too. She had a very inquisitive eye. I thought for sure she'd noticed the crowbar. When the doors finally opened on our floor, we slowly walked out. The hall was empty. No guards. No bad men. It felt eerily desolate and quiet, especially since we'd come from the loud and boisterous casino floor. I wanted to creep down the hall, ready to retreat. Yet I knew we had to rush. The longer we were in the hall, the quicker we'd be discovered. "Quick, call the front desk," I said. "I'll go to the other end of the hallway to listen."
Okay,
Maya said, pulling out her phone. I hurried as fast as I could to the other end, hoping this hotel had ridiculously loud and obnoxious phones. Maya had her phone to her ear, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. After a few moments, I heard the distant sound of a ringing phone. It wasn't on my end, and the way Maya was waddling toward me had me suspecting it was somewhere in the middle of the hallway. "Hurry!" I said, hop running toward the sound. We both reached the door as the last ring confirmed the room.
We found it. I can't believe we found his room.
Now we just have to open the door. I slid out the crowbar and wedged it in the door. I heaved, yanking it with my body weight, but the door didn't budge. "This isn't going to work," I said.
Why not?
"Because the door opens into the room and I'm trying to pull it out."
Then pull the other way.
"I can't unless I'm on the other side."
But then you wouldn't need to open the door because we'd already be inside.
Exactly.
Oh, what do we do now?
I don't know. I could try to break the door handle, but I'm not sure if that would help us or make it harder to get inside. The elevator dinged. We turned around to stare at it in horror. No one else should be on this floor right now. I gripped the crowbar firmly, knowing this was our only weapon. The doors slid open. Chapter 10. Maya and I wilted against each other upon seeing a housekeeping cart being pushed through the elevator.
It's just the cleaner.
Maya said between breaths.
Maybe she will let us in Sergio's room.
I don't think so. It's against hotel policy.
There's no harm in trying,
Maya said, waddling over to the woman who had stopped at the first door. I hid the crowbar behind me.
Excuse me, can you let me into my room? I forgot my key inside.
I can't,
the housekeeper said.
You'll have to go downstairs and have a new key made.
Maya crossed her legs and gave the woman a thoroughly frantic look.
The baby is on my bladder. I won't make it to the lobby without a huge, messy accident.
The woman studied her for a moment. Maya bounced on her toes, looking like a 5-year-old who'd drunk too much juice.
Okay, just this once. I have a full cleaning load today. I don't need any accidents.
The housekeeper hurried over, pulled out her master keycard, and inserted it into the lock. As soon as the light turned green, I opened it. Maya flew in past me, calling her thanks. She raced into the bathroom and closed the door. That was a close call, I said to the housekeeper. Thank you. She nodded, but stayed at the door. Why wasn't she leaving? And then it dawned on me. Oh, I said, digging into my pocket for money with my free hand. All that came out was lint and a wrinkled dollar. I handed over the bill. I'll leave a little extra on the nightstand. She frowned at the dollar but took it anyway and walked back to her cart. I quickly closed the door and locked it. You can come out, she's gone. But Maya didn't come out right away. Maybe she really did have to go. Since I knew our time was limited, I began my search, scanning the room in hopes of finding something useful. A lone suitcase sat near the short dresser. There were no other bags that I could see. A necklace was laying on top of the nightstand as if Rosie might have been getting ready for bed. Yet, the bed was still made. In fact, the room looked like it had never been touched. Only the necklace and suitcase proved that Sergio and Rosie had been here at one point. There was no sign of a scuffle or fight, no sign that they had been taken against their will. The bathroom door opened and Maya stepped out, bracing herself against the frame, her cheeks flushed. Are you okay? I asked. She gave a slight nod.
I think all of the excitement got to me.
Sit down and rest. It doesn't look like there is much here anyway. On her way over to a small chair in the corner, she glanced around.
They only brought one suitcase?
I assumed so, unless the other was stolen.
I brought 2 suitcases just for me.
Yes, but you also had a bedroom converted into a closet. She smiled.
I do like clothes.
That was an understatement. Curious to know what was inside the suitcase, I picked it up and set it on the bed. It had no brightly colored name tag to identify it from the hordes at the airport. Do you think they're a couple? I asked, wondering about Sergio and Rosie's relationship. Maya nodded.
Most definitely. I know Rosie was married to Sergio's brother, but I think she might have been in love with Sergio from the beginning.
Did he know that? She shrugged.
He might have. But men often aren't that perceptive.
I lifted the cover and peered in. Clothes. I carefully took out each item and placed it on the bed. Perhaps there was something at the bottom. Maya picked up the necklace from the nightstand and dangled it in front of her.
Pretty.
I supposed it was, but the gold circular medallion was a bit too large for my taste.
I like how the circle swirls to the middle. It's a bit heavy, though.
As she played with the necklace, I continued to search the suitcase, but I was coming up short. There was nothing but clothes and necessities. I checked the pockets and felt around the lining. Nothing. Maybe the dresser. But each drawer I checked didn't reveal anything.
Oh, I think it's a locket.
I glanced over at her as she fiddled with it. I can't find anything in the suitcases or the drawers, I said.
Did you look under the drawers? I've seen people tape things to the undersides in movies.
I pulled out the drawer and carefully turned it over. Again, nothing. I replaced it and tried the next.
This locket is tricky. I haven't seen one like this before.
I searched the rest of the drawers but didn't find anything. Maybe they hid something under the mattress. But the bedding looked as though it hadn't been touched. And wouldn't that be the first place a criminal would check? But I didn't want to leave anything to chance. Maybe they hadn't had time to think and just shoved important information in the first place they could. Or I could be wasting our time and risking our lives for nothing. Maybe they never kept a trail of their research on Alfonso in case it was used against them. The mattress yielded nothing other than the fact that it was old and needed to be replaced. Where else should I look?
They are in love.
Confused, I glanced over at her. The necklace was still in her hands, but this time it was open. Is there a picture?
No, it's a note.
I wasn't sure how that would help us, but since it was the only thing we could find, I hurried over. What does it say?
Here,
she said, passing the necklace to me. I took it and read the small paper that was tucked inside. You are my beacon of light in the darkest of nights. Love, Terminator.
Is Sergio the Terminator?
Yes. Remember a while back I cracked his code to access his computer? He loves the Terminator.
It's odd that he would use that in a love note to Rosie.
I sat down on the bed to think. If Caleb gave me a locket with a secret romantic message, I wouldn't leave it behind. I'd grab it on the way out. Wouldn't you?
Yes, but maybe she didn't have time or maybe Rosie forgot it in the rush.
There's something not right, I said, staring at the message. I feel as though this should mean something, but maybe I'm just grasping at straws.
Should we keep looking?
Yes, we'd better. I'd hate to miss something important. Maya heaved herself out of the chair.
I'll check the bathroom. I have to use it again anyway.
Okay. I tucked the necklace into my pocket. I already checked the mattress, but maybe there's something hidden under the bed. However, when I peered down under the bed skirt, I realized the mattress was sitting on a platform, which made it useless as a hiding place. Where else? Perhaps under the chair. Tilting the chair, I couldn't see anything under it. The cushions were sewn into place, so I couldn't look under them. The lamps revealed nothing except a rogue spider web. Nothing in the open closet. The TV yielded no answers. The mirror was anchored in place, and the two landscape paintings didn't reveal any hidden gems behind them. Maya opened the bathroom door.
Just towels.
I studied the room one more time, but I couldn't find anything that wasn't already searched. We should leave before it's too late.
Where should we go?
Back to Grayson's house. We can show them the necklace.
He's going to be mad.
I shrugged. We don't have many options right now. Maybe between all of us we can figure out the message. It's worth a shot.
Okay, but you're going in first.
I thought you should go in first.
Me? I wouldn't be able to run away fast enough.
He wouldn't hurt a single hair on your head, which is why I'm going to hide behind you.
Chicken.
I smiled. Never said I wasn't. Checking the peephole first to make sure there weren't any lurkers, I slowly opened the door. The housekeeping cart was still at the end of the hall near the elevator. Let's hurry, I said, opening the door wider and waving at Maya to follow. My heart thudded hard in my chest as we raced to the elevator. I jabbed the down button several times before Maya scolded me.
We need that button. Stop trying to break it.
Sorry. I had to keep calm, but every moment we were in the open could be the moment we were spotted. I'm just nervous.
Me too.
Finally, when I thought my heart was about to burst out of my chest, the elevator opened and was thankfully empty. I didn't understand. How were Maya and I not accosted yet? I mean, I was thankful, but with so many people MIA in such a short amount of time, I thought they'd be breathing down our necks. But nothing. It gave me a horrible, ominous feeling. "Hurry to the car," I said as soon as we reached the first floor. "But not too fast. We don't want to attract attention."
I'm not hurrying anywhere. My feet are swollen.
"You can put your feet up as soon as we get to Grayson's." Having Maya hobble to the car didn't help with speed records, but I did manage to drive to Grayson's within 20 minutes.
Why is the gate open?
I slowed to a crawl as we neared the gate. Maybe Grayson saw us coming and opened it. Yet it was wide open. Normally, he would open it as I pulled into the drive. Something was wrong.
Are you going to drive through?
I'm not sure if we should. This doesn't feel right. Let's wait to see if he comes out. Surely if Grayson was waiting to close the gate, he would come out and wave us in. But the door never opened, and no one waved at us. "Call him," I said, placing the car in reverse in case we had to bolt. Maya took out her phone, but after a few rings, the call went to voicemail. "Try Ian or the others." After trying Ian, Gwen, and Jenna, she shook her head.
No one is answering.
Fear shredded through me. Our safety zone was gone. Everyone was gone. Only Maya and I were left. 2 pregnant ladies. One was about to explode and the other about to barf. We were the only ones left to try to save the others, if they were even alive to save. Glancing over at Maya, I could see the same thoughts running through her, paralyzing her expression into dismay. I quickly backed out of the driveway and found a nook down the road to pull over in so we could think.
What do we do?
"What are our options?" I asked, trying to keep calm but wanting to run down the road shrieking. Drumming my fingers on the steering wheel, I pondered. Option A. We could go back to Grayson's and see if they are there. Maybe they didn't hear their phones. Maya shook her head, confirming option A was a very bad idea. Option B, I said, thinking out loud. We go to the police. Maya nodded.
I like that one.
Okay, option B is good. Are there any other options? We should come up with as many as we can.
I can't think of any, but I still think the locket might hold some value. Like you said, Rosie wouldn't have left it behind. She'd keep it on her at all times.
Okay. Option C is to try to decode the love note. Since it was all we had, I didn't want to squash any glimmer of hope yet. But really, I thought it was just Sergio being silly. We'll go to the police. While they try to find the others, we'll decode the necklace. It would keep Maya's mind occupied. Maya took a breath and ran a gentle hand on her belly.
I hope the police do a better job than we have.
I'm sure they will. I can't see how they could do a worse job. At least they aren't on Alfonso's list. She gave a nod.
Let's go.
And at least if we were at the police station, we'd be safe. I turned the car around and headed back to the city. Chapter 11. Another form? I questioned the officer at the desk.
12 people are missing,
He said dryly. His forehead was lined with permanent wrinkles. I suspected it was from filling out endless forms and reports. If nothing else, at least the tired officer was taking us seriously. It took a little bit of explaining and a few tears from Maya, but he decided our problem was legitimate and waived the missing person time restriction. So, here we sat, filling out information on each person, searching our phones for pictures of them, and having to rehash the entire story of Alfonso Ortugas and how we were all intertwined. He sat back and took a breath.
and they say TV is overdramatic. I'm telling you, life is never as believable as some of the crazy stuff they put on the network. I've heard a lot of stories in my lifetime, but I think yours might trump them all.
Will you be able to help us?
Maya asked hopefully.
Of course, we're the police.
He said. Then he cautiously added,
But you also have to understand that if your friends have truly been taken by a cartel drug lord, they might already be.
He stopped when Maya crumpled into tears.
I'm sorry.
He reached over and patted her hand.
We'll do our best. Why don't you both have a seat in the lobby while I sort this out?
I stood and helped Maya to her feet. Her ankles had swollen to abnormal proportions. They were no longer visible. I wasn't sure how she could move. "Do you have any peppermint tea?" I asked the officer. He arched a brow.
Peppermint tea? No, we only have coffee or water.
"Water, please." He gave a nod and headed to the back. "Are you in pain?" I asked Maya as we walked to the lobby.
A little. My feet are killing me.
Once she sat in a lobby chair, I dragged another chair over to her and helped to prop up her feet. "Does that feel okay?" She sighed.
Much better. Thank you.
But she still didn't look comfortable, and I suspected it was because her feet were so swollen her shoes were 2 sizes too small. "Do you want your shoes off?"
I'll never get them back on.
"We're going to be here for a while. You might as well make yourself comfortable." She nodded.
Will you help? I'll never reach them on my own.
"Sure." It took some shoe wiggling, but I finally freed her feet. She sighed again.
Thank you. Now, if only I could be in my pajamas, I'd be very comfortable.
"I'm sure they have some orange jumpsuits in back," I said with a smile. It was nice to focus on Maya and her needs. It kept me from thinking other thoughts. But once Maya was settled, the thoughts were still there, haunting me. The officer had returned with water and handed a cup to each of us. We thanked him as he excused himself to tend to the overwhelming task ahead.
What's his name?
Maya asked after the officer was out of earshot. I thought for a moment, but I couldn't recall. I'm sure he had told us, but it was as if I was falling into a fog. I'm not sure. We sat in silence until my gaze wandered to the wanted board. Muffin's picture was still hanging there. "What do you think she's up to?"
Who?
I pointed to the picture. "Muffin." Maya smiled.
Hopefully she settled down with that guy. What was his name?
I shook my head. I can't seem to remember any names anymore.
You're getting mommy brain.
What's that?
It's a bit of short-term memory loss. I'm horrible at remembering things now. I think it's because the baby is absorbing half my brain.
I'm sure the baby isn't absorbing your brain.
Just wait. You'll find out for yourself.
Are you trying to scare me?
No, just lightening the mood the best that I can.
I didn't think lightening the mood was possible, but I smiled anyway and glanced back at the mugshot. She did seem like she loved him. I used to call him Piñata since that was basically what he was to her.
She has a unique way of expressing her love.
Well, at least they aren't here. We don't need anyone else in Alfonso's path.
True.
Maya agreed and then looked down at her hands.
Do you think the police will be able to help?
I'm not sure, but I'm hopeful. She gave a slight nod, but her brows were pinched with worry. I pulled out the necklace. And we still have this. I didn't think it was a clue, but it would help keep Maya's mind busy. And if I were honest, I needed a break from worrying.
Well, we know who the Terminator is, but why would he write that in a message to Rosie? Love notes aren't for silly nicknames.
He has a tendency to be weird. Maya reached out and took the necklace, running the delicate gold chain along her fingers.
This locket is a symbol of love. He wouldn't write something silly inside.
Perhaps not.
I think the note is meant for you.
Me?
You're the only one besides Rosie who would know about his password, and since I don't think this note is for Rosie, the only other person is you.
I guess that makes sense, but why leave a note for me in Rosie's locket?
For you to find, silly. He wouldn't leave the note on the table. A housekeeper might throw it away. Or worse, Alfonso would stumble on it. Hidden in the locket, it's easier to dismiss as a note for Rosie.
I still thought we were grasping at straws, but I was more willing to believe Maya was onto something. So, if you're right, then what does the rest of the message mean? Maya opened the locket and took out the tiny note.
You are my beacon of light in the darkest of nights. Love, Terminator.
Maya twisted her lips as she thought.
Maybe it's a riddle of sorts.
I took a sip of water to think and let my stomach rest. Warm peppermint tea would have been much better, but I couldn't be choosy. Is he talking about Vegas with light and darkness?
Maybe, but that wouldn't help us. Vegas is huge.
Then he's being specific. Are there any beacons of light here?
What about the stratosphere?
Maybe. It's the only large beacon of light that I can think of, but it doesn't seem right either.
Okay, we'll revisit that later. What about in the darkest of nights?
That could be any night.
But not in Vegas. When has Vegas ever been dark?
Then he is talking about a beacon of light outside of Vegas. If it's outside of Vegas, then we'll never figure this out. Do you know how many places this could mean? I felt as though I was being buried under sand. Maya clutched the necklace to her.
We'll find them. We have to.
I guess we'd better start researching. Maya wiped a tear away and nodded.
Where do we begin?
The internet. Chapter 12. It was in the evening when we finally took a break. Officer Clifford Brown, as we now knew was his name, had been very understanding and let us use an old computer in back. While he was working on his end, Maya and I did our best to figure out the riddle. But the more we looked, the more we both began feeling hopeless. There was no end to the possibilities. For all we knew, they could be at a lighthouse on the coast of Maine, or a cell tower in the desert. How were we to narrow it down? Officer Brown appeared with a paper bag in his hand.
You girls have to be hungry. I had a couple of sandwiches sent over.
The sandwiches were warm, and the scent wafting from the bag was heavenly.
Thank you,
Maya said, taking the bag.
That was very thoughtful of you.
Do you have any updates?
Not yet. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thank you, I said, though I wanted to yell. What was taking so long? And yet, I knew. They were just as stuck as we were. His furrowed brow said exactly that.
I smell food,
a voice from beyond our area said. It was loud and familiar. The officer groaned and turned to leave.
Some arrests aren't worth the effort.
He muttered so low I almost missed it.
You guys got chicken here?
Maya and I locked eyes. Muffins here, we both said. The officer eyed us.
You know Bonnie?
I winced. We've crossed paths several times.
Is she always hungry, or is it an act to annoy us?
She's always hungry. Made a few threats on my cat's life if I didn't feed her. But I thought she was in California. How did you get her back here?
A U.S. Marshal brought her in.
Small guy?
Yeah, I think so. Why?
Just curious. So Pinata had tired of her and her brutish ways. He lasted a lot longer than I thought he would.
Well, I'll get back at it, but my shift ends soon. Officer Bragstad will take care of you after that. I'll do my best until then.
You know we aren't making this up, right?
Yeah, I know. We've had confirmation that at least one camera picked up enough footage to substantiate your claim. No one doubts you. Right now, we're working on getting more information.
Where was the camera located?
Tropical rain.
Who was on the footage?
Once we have more information, I'll let you know,
he said, avoiding the question.
It was David, wasn't it?
He gave a slight nod.
Sorry, ma'am.
Was he the only one on the camera? I asked, handing tissues to Maya.
We have more footage to go through, but yes, right now it's just him.
The officer took one last pitying glance and then headed back to his desk. I sat in thought as Maya did her best to compose herself. I didn't know how to console her, and a question burned in my mind. How did Sergio and Rosie not get picked up by the camera? They were at the hotel. And Caleb, Remy and Ava. Why weren't they on camera? Sighing, I knew I had to let it go. Not all of the footage had been viewed. they might have been caught on a different camera.
Why is it always David?
David will always be the one to jump through fire to help someone.
I know. That's what I love and hate about him.
She dabbed the corners of her red-rimmed eyes with the deteriorating tissue.
He promised me he wouldn't put his life in danger anymore.
You know he only did it because all of our lives are in danger, including yours and the baby. He would do anything to keep you both safe.
I wish I was a little more like him. I feel so useless right now. We've sat here for hours, and we don't know anything more than when we first walked in.
I don't want a tiny bag of airline peanuts.
Muffin yelled.
I'm starving. This is police brutality.
I rolled my eyes. I really thought we'd gotten rid of her. Maya laughed through her sniffles.
I know she's a bit of a brute, but I find her refreshing. She knows exactly what she wants, and she doesn't care about people's opinions. I wish I could be a little bit more like her.
I picked up the deli bag. She can have my sandwich. I don't think I can keep anything down right now anyway. I opened the bag and took out a sandwich for Maya. She unwrapped it, took out half, and then rewrapped the other half to put back into the bag.
She sounds like she might be extra hungry,
Maya said, standing.
I'd hate for any of the officers to get hurt. Let's go say hello.
I'm not sure they'd want us to if they're in the middle of arresting her, I said. But since we have food, they might let it slide. If I were them, I'd turn a blind eye if it'd get her to shut up for a few minutes. Maya gave a small laugh.
She's really not that bad.
She really is. We followed the loud, complaining voice until we found her at an officer's desk in the front office. She was handcuffed to the chair. She spotted us as soon as we entered the room.
Hey, Natalie, Maya.
It's Nadia, I corrected when we drew closer.
Yeah, that's what I said.
She eyed the bag.
What you got there?
Hello to you too, I muttered and then placed the bag on the desk. It's a sandwich if the officer will allow you to have it. The exasperated officer glanced between me and Muffin.
Fine. Don't try anything stupid,
he said to Muffin as he uncuffed her right wrist, leaving her left still cuffed. I was wondering how cuffing her to a chair would keep her from escaping, but then I noticed the chair legs were bolted to the floor. I still wasn't sure it was enough. She had the strength of an ox and the temperament of a bull.
I need 2 hands to eat.
Then you won't eat.
She glared at him, but then reached into the bag and pulled out the sandwich.
What are you in for?
She asked us. Everyone has been abducted. We're trying to find them and also stay safe. She took a large bite of the sandwich and then, with a mouthful of food, she said,
I don't think you have to worry. Nobody'd want to abduct you.
I rolled my eyes, wondering why I bothered with her. Maya, let's get back to researching.
Researching?
Muffin asked curiously.
What kind of research? I can help.
The officer stared at her flatly.
You're staying here until I finish the report.
And then I can leave?
He shook his head and muttered something under his breath. What happened to Pinata? I asked.
He said we were going on our honeymoon and then he dropped me off here. Can you imagine my surprise?
How awful.
I know. He didn't even get me dinner first.
Well, good luck, I said without an ounce of compassion. Yes, she had saved my life once, but there were many times she'd made my life miserable. Just being near her made all of those times come flooding back. The many times she took over my apartment, ruining my wall. The closet of clothes lost during the sticky floor escapade. It was a long list, and I didn't want it to grow longer.
Where are you going?
She asked as I turned to leave. Back to our research. Bye, Muffin.
You can't leave me here.
I don't really have a choice. You landed yourself in this mess. I was only able to walk a few steps before Muffin said,
Arrest her. She's just as guilty as I am.
I turned around. What are you talking about? She leaned forward to speak to the officer.
She was harboring a fugitive. I stayed at her place many times.
The officer glanced at me.
Is this true?
Is anything she says true? She doesn't even know my name.
Nadia.
Muffin said with a grin that made me regret giving her my sandwich. The officer pointed to a chair next to Muffin.
Sit.
I don't have time. There are a dozen people missing. The fact that she stole my apartment and kicked me out is insignificant.
So, she was staying at your place and you failed to notify the police.
He said. Then he pointed to the chair.
Sit.
I glared at Muffin. Once again, she was a thorn in my butt. How much trouble was I in now? Did harboring a fugitive mean a jail sentence? Damn, I knew I should have called the police in the first place. Just as I was pondering my options and fate, the lights went out. The entire building was cloaked in black.
Nadia?
Stay put,
the officer said.
The lights will be back on in a moment.
I knew approximately where Maya was standing. Quietly, I stood and shuffled over to her. Fumbling for her hand, I took it and gave a gentle tug.
Nadia?
Yes, follow me. I was getting the hell out of the station before they could lock me up with Muffin. Chapter 13. There was no way I was going to stay and take the rap for Muffin. I didn't have time to sit in jail. There were lives at stake. As long as the lights stayed off just a little longer, we'd be out of the building.
Where are we going?
Maya asked. I don't know. I hurried around obstacles, knocking into a few. Orders were being shouted, but I didn't hear any of them. All I could focus on was my escape.
Aren't we going to get in trouble?
I will, but you'll be fine. I found the door and pushed it open into the dark night. Only headlights from cars streaming by lit the walkways. A driver blasted his horn at another driver who didn't stop at the intersection, now devoid of traffic signals.
It's dark everywhere.
Was the entire city down? I really didn't understand how city electricity worked, but I didn't think it was common to have an entire grid go down without a rainstorm or something. The sky was clear from what I could tell, and there wasn't a drop of rain or a gust of wind.
What should we do?
I don't know, but computers are useless to us right now. Let's walk a little and think about this.
Won't it be safer at the police station?
For you, but not for me. Not after Muffin opened her mouth. Maybe you should go back. You can work with the police, and I'll try to find another way.
No, I'm not leaving you. We'll find another way together.
Coming through!
Muffin shouted, barreling down the sidewalk with one hand still handcuffed to a chair with broken legs. She carried it as she charged down the sidewalk.
Muffin, you're stealing a chair.
I'll send them a note where to find it.
She hurried past us.
Should we go after her?
When has anything ever gone right when she was around? Plus, I was still mad at her for plunging me into hot water with the cops. I'd have to let Jessica know. She would sort it out in the morning. Even though I didn't want to follow Muffin, she was going in the direction I was headed. I wasn't sure why I felt the need to go that way. Perhaps because the strip was down the road and we could blend in when the lights finally came back on. But as we walked, I knew where I was headed. Tropical rain. It was stupid, I knew. But at the same time, I was out of options. Stupid was all I had left. Maya, I'm going back to the tropical rain. I don't think you should come along. Go back to the station.
No! I've already told you I'm staying with you. Get it through your thick skull,
she snapped. I blinked, wondering if I'd ever heard Maya so forceful. She sighed.
My feet are still bothering me, but I'm not ready to give up yet. If you have an idea, I want to know about it.
I don't have an idea, but I'm tired of waiting. We've gone to the police, we've researched, we've tried everything we can think of, and still nothing. I just want to go there and see what happens.
Alfonso and his men could be there.
I know.
They could abduct us.
I know.
They could kill us.
I know. She swatted me. Ow! I rubbed my arm. Maya could pack a wallop when she wanted to. I know it's stupid, but what else do you suggest? She sighed again.
I don't know. We still haven't figured out the message in the locket.
Okay, we're in the dark. Where are we going to find a beacon of light? We rounded a corner and began heading up the strip. Maya squealed. She gave a slight bounce and pointed.
There.
A newly built casino tower was lit up from top to bottom, radiating light down upon the dark strip.
We have to go there,
she said, hurrying me along. I walked faster. Why is it the only place with electricity?
I don't know. Maybe they have generators.
To light that entire building? That had to be a mighty generator. We walked past Muffin, who was leaning against a brick building, panting.
This chair is heavy. Wait, where are you going?
To the tower.
Are we gambling? Wait, I'll come with you.
You have a chair stuck to you. You'll never make it past security if you're handcuffed to a chair.
You got a bobby pin?
Do I look like I have one? I asked, pointing to my boring, flat hair.
I do,
Maya said, taking one from a bouncy curl and handing it to her. Within a few moments, the handcuffs and chair were discarded, and Muffin was free. How did you do that?
Do you think this is the first time a man has dropped me off at a police station? I have skills.
How are you at finding people? I asked. It was worth a shot.
Who are you looking for?
Caleb, David, Frankie, Mark, Grayson, Jenna, Ian, Gwen, Sergio, Rosie, Remy, and Ava.
Did you try their phones?
Of course we tried calling them.
No, I meant tracking their phones. You know, to find your friends.
Maya and I glanced at each other.
Did you?
No, I don't know how. Did you? She shook her head.
I've never done it before.
Muffin stuck out her hand.
Give me your phone.
I handed her my phone and she gave it right back.
Your phone is crap.
Maya handed over hers. Muffin nodded.
This might work. It's how I keep track of my men.
She tapped a few times and growled.
The bastard is close.
Who? I asked.
Riza.
Piñata? You're supposed to find our missing people, I said.
I will as soon as I take care of Reza.
Muffin, this is serious.
I know. That's why I'm going to kill him fast.
She had been so quick on the phone that I didn't see how she found Riza. Muffin was our only hope, and she was charging down the road toward the tower.
Do we follow her?
I don't think we have a choice. But as soon as we find a teenager or a 5-year-old, I'm making them help us. We hurried to keep up with Muffin.
What if their phones are off or were destroyed?
I'm not sure. I guess we wouldn't be able to locate them and we'd be back to square one. Still, out of 12 people, hopefully one phone survived. Let's just focus on following Muffin. If she's on Riz's trail, then maybe he can help us. He's a U.S. Marshal. We trailed after Muffin, apologizing to the people in her wake. Her spirit animal had to be a bull. At least we never lost sight of her. Between her height and the yelps that followed her, we were able to keep her in our sights. Maya began to slow. Are you okay?
I'm just not used to chasing after people with all this extra weight.
Do you want to sit down? She shook her head.
I just need to slow down. You go ahead. We need Muffin.
I slowed to her pace. We stick together. I wasn't about to leave her on her own. We know she's heading to the tower. We'll catch up with her.
Is it odd that Riza is at the tower?
I shrugged. Maybe, but after dropping off Muffin to the police, I'm sure he wanted to celebrate.
He could have celebrated anywhere. Why there?
When we find him, we'll ask. It was odd, but I couldn't see him having anything to do with Alfonso. Unless, could it be possible he was trailing after Alfonso? Then wouldn't he want Muffin as his wingman? She could take Alfonso down before a single bullet flew.
I don't like this.
What? There was so much not to like. It was hard to pinpoint just one point.
Vegas is eerie when it's dark.
I had to agree. The only light was from the tower. Crowds were beginning to funnel there, creating a nearly impossible barricade to navigate through. I took her hand. We'll have to stick close. The closer we maneuvered to the tower, the louder and more crowded it became. In fact, I worried if we would reach the door at all. Surely the casino would begin to block people from entering if their casino filled to capacity.
I feel like a moth.
Why?
We're all heading to the same light.
That was true. We were all headed to the same place. And Alfonso might be there. Suddenly, a wave of uncertainty settled over me. Just how sinister were Alfonso's plans? Maya, what if this was Alfonso's plan all along? What if the locket was a warning?
What do you mean?
Tons of people are flocking to the building. What if he's planning to blow it up or release a deadly gas? He'd kill thousands of people.
You don't think he would do something like that, do you?
I wouldn't put it past him.
But why?
I don't know. Maybe he's covering his tracks. Maybe by bringing a building down, a few murders wouldn't be noticed. Or maybe because he's an angry killer.
That's horrible. What do we do?
I don't know, I said again. I wanted to toss my theory aside, but what else could it be? And how were we to stop it?
Where do you think he would be in the building?
I don't know. I was completely useless. I could only think about how many ways Alfonso could kill masses of people. Maya was on the verge of tears, and I was about to lose my mind with so many people jostling to get inside. I'm sorry, I said to Maya, avoiding a lady's ridiculously large purse as she squeezed past. I shouldn't have thought the worst. I'm probably wrong.
But you could be right,
Maya stated, sounding a lot stronger than I felt at the moment, even with her unshed tears.
If you were Alfonso, where would you be?
I was about to say I didn't know yet again, but then I looked up and pointed. There, I would be at the top, looking down. You could see everything from up there, but you also wouldn't be able to escape quickly either.
With all of these people, I don't think you could escape quickly no matter what.
A suicide bombing? I pondered. Crews would be working to return the Vegas grid. So, if something was going to happen, it would be soon. And how would Alfonso be able to shut down an entire city grid except for the tower? Too many questions and no answers. And these were all theories. As we drew closer, I realized there was no way to get inside. The crowd had grown so dense we couldn't move.
This is insane. We'll never get to the door.
I never realized how many tourists were in Vegas until we were all trying to reach the same place. We'll have to find another way.
And then what? It'll be just as crowded inside as it is out here.
She was right, but I didn't want to think about it. We were running out of time and options. Chapter 14. Maya and I trudged our way through the crowd, being pushed and jostled along the way. I worried for Maya, but at this point, there was nothing I could do except plow through. Trying to backtrack would be just as bad. Exhausted, I stopped. How are you feeling? I asked.
Tired.
Me too. I don't suppose you want to put on one more act.
What do you mean?
We might be able to get through quicker if you were in labor.
Oh, I can do that.
Maya was truly my hero. She placed a hand on her stomach.
My water broke. Oh, I'm in labor. Ow.
Well, it wasn't nearly as good of a performance as last time, but she fooled enough people to let us wiggle our way through. She waddled and yelped, acting as though a baby would pop out at any moment. Finally, we made it to the door, which was blocked by security guards.
We're at capacity,
one said. She's in labor. I pointed to Maya, who bent over and groaned. She needs medical attention, and we're stuck here. The man's eyes widened.
We aren't a hospital.
I realize that, but she can't give birth to a baby out here.
I'll radio for help.
He opened the door and shooed us in.
Stay here.
But as soon as he turned his back, we were already swallowed up by the casino patrons.
Where should we go?
Let's get to the top. Find an elevator. It took effort, winding our way through the masses, but we finally made it to a set of elevators. The doors opened and we stepped in, along with several others. It was a tight fit, and I was beginning to feel overwhelmed. Thankfully, some of the people stepped off at various floors, but most rode to the top with us, since there was an observation deck. When we stepped off the elevator, we paused to scan the large circular room, surrounded by windows.
I don't see how Alfonso would keep David and the others up here. It's so crowded that surely someone would stumble upon a madman with a dozen hostages.
She gasped and pointed to the far side of the room.
Look over there!
Muffin. Let's go, I said. I didn't want to lose her again. Not only was she on the hunt for Riza, but she could find people on Maya's phone.
Where is she going?
Muffin headed to an emergency exit. Is she leaving? She was our last hope. That thought didn't sit well. She was already through the emergency exit several minutes before we were able to escape through. We were greeted by a concrete staircase with the option to go up or down.
Aren't we already at the top?
Maybe there's a service room above.
Which way should we go?
Up. She glanced up the stairs, worried.
Are you sure?
If Alfonso is here, I'm betting he's hiding where tourists and staff wouldn't go.
He could be in one of the hotel rooms.
I shook my head. If he's abducting people, then he can't leave them in a hotel room for housekeeping staff to find. Unless he used a do not disturb sign on his door. Still, I had to think he wouldn't be that stupid. Alfonso somehow moved everyone into the tower unnoticed.
And this way wouldn't be noticed? We walked through the entire lobby, up the elevator, through the observation deck, and up the exit stairs.
You have a point. Let's just go up so I feel better that we looked.
Okay, but I've only got 1 or 2 stories in me, and then I'm done for.
We walked up the stairs, turning as it wound its way up. Thankfully, it only took a couple of turns, and then we were at the top. A maintenance personnel only sign on the gray metal door at the top of the steps greeted us. Hesitantly, I placed my hand on the knob. Are you ready?
No,
she said, clutching me. Do you want to go back to the observation deck? I can go by myself. I really didn't want to go by myself, but I wouldn't force Maya to come with me, especially in her state.
We have to go. We have no other choice. I refuse to leave without everyone else.
With Maya behind me, I pulled the door open slightly and listened. Nothing. I peeked in to find a room that had a gazillion wires and control boxes. A service elevator was in the corner. I opened the door wider so we could step in. He could have used that elevator to move everyone.
But where are they?
A crash sounded to the side of us. We looked over to find a small service door hanging off its hinges. Muffin, we both said at the same time. I hurried over and moved the door so I could look in. I was just in time to witness Muffin being taken down to the ground by a taser. It took several jolts until she finally stopped fighting.
I hate these things,
a man said, stowing his taser in his leather jacket.
I should have used my gun.
No,
another man said.
Someone would hear. You know Alfonso doesn't want us to kill anyone until he gathers the rest.
He's running out of time. The timer's already ticking. He's got 20 minutes and then I'm out of here. This shit's not worth what he's paying.
We're too far in to stop now.
I'm not taking the rap for this.
Me neither.
What should we do?
Let's get her tied and in with the others. The last thing we need is for her to come at us again.
They both bent down to grab one arm each.
Damn, my back is gonna go out. Can't we tie her here?
Just get moving.
I slid back and looked at Maya. Did you hear that? I whispered. She nodded.
What do we do?
I don't know, but I don't want them to find us. Footsteps sounded next to us. We both looked over to find a man holding a gun on us. Alfonso Ortugas. His dark eyes were full of hate as he aimed the gun at my heart.
Too late,
he said. The smile that formed on his dry, weathered lips sent jagged shivers along my spine.
Looks like you got my message.
I straightened slightly, not wanting to give him a reason to shoot me. What message?
The one in Rosie's locket. I did have my doubts, especially with the crowds trying to get in here. But here you are. I knew you wouldn't be able to resist helping your friends.
I thought Sergio left that message.
I know. That's what makes it so much better. Did you think I didn't know about his fascination with the Terminator? I'm his cousin. I know him better than most people.
Then you shouldn't hurt him. He laughed.
He killed the family business. I will kill him. He knows the rules. He even played by them when he took everyone down. How do you think he accomplished that? Squirt guns? He knows I'll return in kind.
I couldn't picture Sergio carrying a gun, let alone using one. But he probably didn't have a choice when up against the cartel. But why everyone else?
You are all guilty?
And the thousands of people in this building? Why would you want to kill all of them? He didn't answer right away. Instead, his hard eyes assessed me.
How did you know?
It's true. There's a bomb here.
How did you know?
He asked again, turning his gun on Maya. I guessed, but your thugs confirmed it when they were talking earlier. Doesn't sound like they're loyal to you. I'm betting they'll run in a few minutes. He shrugged.
I only needed them for this job. I don't give a damn what happens after.
Everyone will be looking for you, I said. You'll be a terrorist. They'll find you. He just smiled and waved the gun toward the service door.
Time to go. I think a reunion's in order.
Can't we talk about this? I asked. What do you want? Money? You can have everything Caleb and I have. I'm sure the others will add to it.
I don't want money.
What do you want?
Revenge.
Revenge won't help. It will only hurt you.
I'll take my chances.
He waved his gun to the door.
Go before I have to hurt you.
I frowned. I'm pretty sure it will hurt when we're all killed.
Yes, but why be in agony until then? I'm giving you a painless death. Be thankful.
I contemplated charging at him. He would get off one shot, but it might not hit anything vital.
Phones!
He demanded, holding out his hand. When neither of us offered our phones, he aimed his gun at Maya's stomach.
You would kill an innocent baby?
She questioned in horror, holding her hands in front of her stomach as if that would shield her. He's planning on killing everyone, I said, taking out my phone and handing it to him.
You're a monster!
She cried, tossing her phone at his feet. He kicked both phones to the corner.
I've been called worse.
He waved his gun toward the door again.
Time to go.
How did you get the Vegas grid down?
A well-timed accident and a lot of money. Move!
I saw it in his eyes and felt it in his words. He was done talking. If we didn't follow his orders, he would shoot us. If we followed his directions, we might still have a chance. I knew I was lying to myself, but I was still hoping. I gave Maya's hand a squeeze. She glanced at me with tears in her eyes, but then stepped through. I followed. Within moments, we were in another maintenance room. Metal boxes were attached to the walls with conduit, which snaked beyond where I could see. My gaze then instantly caught on the dozen people who sat against the wall, tied and gagged, each looking as though they had seen more abuse than I wanted to imagine. Chapter 15. My focus settled on Caleb. He was dirty and bruised. Dried blood was caked on his face, neck, and clothes. His glazed eyes stared back at me. I read so much in them that I had to look away before I cried. I caught the same expression on everyone except David, Remy, and Ava. I could only imagine that they had been through worse in their military careers. Perhaps this was just another day for them. But everyone else was a hair away from complete breakdown. Maya trembled next to me. I'm sure I was trembling too, but I couldn't tell. I had fallen numb as soon as I saw Caleb.
Sit,
Alfonso ordered, pointing to a space next to Sergio at the edge of the room. I took Maya's hand and helped her to the ground.
Dorsky,
he called out. I glanced over, wondering who he was talking to. Your thugs abandoned you, I said when no one answered him.
Doesn't matter.
He grabbed a roll of duct tape from the corner and tossed it at me, pointing his gun at Maya.
Bind her hands and feet.
I couldn't decline. The way his finger squeezed the trigger made me nervous. So I lightly wrapped her wrists and ankles.
Do you think I'm stupid?
He asked, seeing my work.
Do it right.
I don't want to hurt her. She's in no condition to fight you anyway. He let out a curse and ordered for me to sit next to her. I hazarded one last scan of the room to see if there were any weapons I could use. Nothing. But my gaze did trip on Remy, whose eyes kept straying down to his right leg. He was trying to tell me something.
Sit,
Alfonso ordered again. I will, I said, turning to face him. I want to give my fiancé a kiss first. Please, I added when I saw that he was going to order me to sit again. It'll be really quick, I promise. Think of it as a last request, like a cigarette before a firing squad. I don't know why I said that. I really didn't want to give him ideas, and it made my stomach flip. His lips curled in disgust.
You have 5 seconds or I'll shoot you both.
I hurried over to Remy, scanning his right leg to find whatever it was he was trying to tell me. Slightly tucked under his jeans, I saw a metal object poking out. I plopped down on his lap to hide the metal. Closing my hand around it, the sharp edge poked against my palm as I hugged him to me. I reached his hands and back, but was only able to make one cut before Alfonso began a countdown. With 1 second to go, I left the shard in Remy's hands and gave him a quick kiss on the cheek. I quickly walked back to my spot and sank down next to Maya, not making eye contact with Caleb. He had to know I was bluffing. Now it was all up to Remy. I had every faith in him. But would he be able to free us all in time? Alfonso tossed me the roll.
Bind your ankles.
I complied but made sure to leave a little room. He growled a curse but didn't make me redo it. He grabbed the tape and demanded that I hold my wrists out. Shoving the gun into his back waistband, he took a length of tape and knelt down next to me to bind my wrists, keeping his gun and sensitive private parts out of my reach. After he finished, he slapped a piece of tape on my mouth and then on Maya's. I held still, not headbutting him like I wanted to. He still had the gun. I had to hope that Remy would be free soon. I glanced over, but his face gave away nothing. A noise outside the door had Alfonso turning his attention.
Time for me to go, but don't worry, you won't be like this for long.
He hurried over to the door and listened. Slowly, he stepped 1 foot out, then screamed as someone yanked him through. Remy broke through his binding and slit the tape on his ankle. Remy freed David first.
Get to the box.
Then he freed Ava.
Look after the rest. I'm going after Alfonso. Try to secure the door after I leave.
Ava gave a nod and took the shard from him. Remy headed for the door and disappeared through it. As soon as Ava removed her tape, she hurried over to lock it behind him and began to cut everyone's bindings. I watched David while she tended to the others. He carefully opened a cover on one of the metal boxes. It was filled with wires. Was that the bomb? There was a gunshot from beyond the door. Was Remy okay?
Time?
Ava called.
2 minutes.
David responded. We had 2 minutes to stop the clock or escape? With so many people in the building, there was no way an evacuation would happen in 2 minutes. David had to disarm the bomb. Did he know how? And was Remy safe? And who pulled Alfonso through the door? So many questions raced through my mind. My gaze bounced from the bomb to Caleb, and then over to the door. I kept track of the time in my head. When Ava reached me, we had 1 minute to go.
Tend to Caleb. His leg is broken.
I wanted more information on his broken leg, but there was no time. I could now see the clock and couldn't help but stare at the countdown. 50 seconds. I ran over to him, scanning his injuries. I love you. 45 seconds.
I love you too, kitten.
His voice was raspy and dry. I sat down next to him and gave him a kiss. 40 seconds.
You were supposed to escape. It was the only thought I could hang on to without losing my mind.
35 seconds. I held his hand but was jolted by a pounding on the door.
Who is it?
Ava yelled.
Remy.
30 seconds. Ava raced over and opened it.
Hurry. David can't find the right wire.
25 seconds. I watched as they peered into the box, pointing at different wires and shaking their heads. 20 seconds. Pinata rushed in.
Where is it?
We all pointed over to where David, Remy, and Ava stood. He hurried over to lend a hand. I could no longer see the clock, but the countdown was still running in my mind. 10 seconds. I leaned against Caleb as he wrapped his arm around me. Muffin wedged through the door and stormed over to Pinata.
Don't you dare try to leave me again!
5 seconds.
What in the hell are you waiting for?
She asked, reaching into the box. Everyone yelled no as she gorilla yanked a wire out. Chapter 16. Muffin held the wire that had stopped the clock.
How did you know which one to pull?
Pinata asked.
I watch movies.
She shrugged and tossed the wire down. She then glared at Pinata.
You left me at the police station. You know the police gives me hives.
I'm sorry, I was going to come and get you, I swear. I just didn't want you to get hurt.
Caleb's head fell against my shoulder. I looked over to find he had passed out. Wrapping my arm around him, I settled us in to get as comfortable as possible while we waited for assistance. It would take first responders a while just to get into the building, let alone up here. I wasn't even sure if anyone had called them yet, but with Remy, David, and Ava in charge, I was content to sit back and wait with Caleb. With a kiss on the top of his head, I whispered, I love you. I cuddled against Caleb on the bed in Frankie and Mark's guest room. It was morning, and the sun had found its way into the room, lighting up every quilted animal. I didn't mind them so much anymore. I didn't mind anything too much anymore, not even the nausea. It meant I was still alive. Caleb was still alive. My baby girl was still alive. And aside from Caleb's broken leg, which had been injured trying to escape from Alfonso's thugs, we all escaped death with hardly a scratch. Caleb stirred and hugged me to him. His eyes were still closed when I leaned in and kissed his cheek.
At least you're kissing the right man this time,
he said, opening his smiling eyes to look at me. I laughed. You know why I kissed Remy, and it was hardly a peck.
I never thought I'd thank you for kissing another man, but thank you.
You're welcome, but you're the only one I want to kiss from now on. He smiled and then frowned.
Was there really a bomb?
Yes, you were there. Didn't you see the clock?
I was in so much pain I couldn't see straight. I thought you were a hallucination at first.
Well, I wasn't, I said, kissing him again. I'm so glad this is over and everyone is safely back home.
Alfonso is really dead? I wasn't hallucinating that, was I?
You heard the gunshot, right? Pinata caught him, but Alfonso wouldn't stand down, so he shot him.
I vaguely remember a gunshot. What's Pinata's real name?
Greg Riza. I think they're coming over later today.
Why?
They want to renew their wedding vows before heading back to California. Muffin's still mad at him for ditching her at the police station.
Why did he do that?
He said to keep her out of harm's way. She does have a tendency to charge in. He was going to go back and get her, but she broke out.
She kind of reminds me of you.
I gasped at the insult. How on earth can you compare us?
You both tend to run into danger head first, stubborn and...
I swatted him.
Easy to anger and prone to violence.
He laughed, which only made me laugh.
I love you, kitten.
I love you more.
Do you think the baby is okay after all of this?
I'm sure, but I have an appointment coming up. I can ask.
Can I come?
I'd prefer if you came. We're in this together. He reached over to take my hand and kiss it.
Let's get married tonight. Forget waiting for the others.
You're on painkillers and you have a broken leg.
Tomorrow?
We'll see. It was 10 days later when Caleb's wish was granted. He still had the broken leg, of course, but was off pain meds. The wedding wouldn't be until later in the evening, but Frankie, Mark, and Maya were scurrying to prepare for 5 ceremonies. The trio was bound and determined to make it work. I didn't see what the fuss was about. But since they were excited, and I wanted to marry Caleb, I helped out where I could and then sat in a corner sipping ginger tea when I wasn't feeling my best.
Nadia,
Frankie called.
you should start getting ready. You only have 4 hours.
4 hours? Who in the world could possibly take 4 hours to get ready? My white dress was simple in design. It took 2 minutes to toss on, and it would probably take 10 seconds to take off. I smiled.
Nadia, get going.
Don't you need help in here? They were doing a marvelous job decorating the room. It was a white wonderland of flowers, tapestry, and twinkle lights. There was enough room for every bride and groom to stand next to each other without crowding.
We don't need help,
Mark said.
We're experts. We'll have this wrapped up in a few minutes. The quartet should be here in a few hours and we'll start playing a half hour before the ceremony for guests.
Guests? I questioned. I didn't think we were inviting any. Frankie tisked.
Of course there'll be guests.
Maya nodded.
David's mom and dad will be here. I think Gwen said her dad is coming.
Ava's dad, too.
Mark added.
Jenna's brother.
Muffin and Greg are honeymooning in Vegas, so they will come to the wedding.
I frowned. Oh, I feel a little guilty. I didn't think to invite anyone.
That's okay. Caleb invited everyone for you.
Caleb did? Who?
Your parents and Caleb's family. I didn't realize he had a lot of family living here, so he might have the most guests.
I sat up straighter. They're coming? Maya nodded.
All of them.
My parents? And Caleb's entire family? We hadn't even told them I was pregnant yet. Suddenly, I was no longer calm and collected. Racing to the guest bedroom, I hurried in to find Caleb. He was lounging in bed with his leg propped up.
Hey, kitten, I was just going to come look for you. How is everything coming along? I wish I could be more help.
Your family is coming. My family is coming.
I know, I can't wait to meet your parents.
You didn't tell me you invited them.
Maya asked for my family's phone numbers. I had Jessica send over the contact list with your information, too.
He studied me.
Didn't Maya tell you?
She told me just now.
Oh, I bet that was a happy surprise.
Caleb, they don't even know I'm pregnant.
So, an unhappy surprise?
No, it's a happy surprise. I was just hoping. I don't know. I guess I was just stalling.
Stalling?
He said with a frown.
Are you embarrassed?
No. Yes, I don't know.
You don't have to tell them you're pregnant today. That can come later. But you know they'll be excited, don't you?
I guess they will be.
My parents are.
You told them? He smiled.
I couldn't keep it to myself.
Aren't we supposed to wait before telling people? He shrugged.
It's not like you can hide it. You're queasy morning, noon, and night. Maya figured it out in 2 seconds.
I trudged over to the bed and fell in next to him.
What's going on, kitten? Talk to me.
I was calm earlier, but not now. Now I'm nervous.
How nervous?
Extremely.
Why? Everyone is coming to see us.
I know. That's why I'm nervous.
They're family. What's there to be nervous about?
It was hard to explain. I guess it's like being on stage. I had thought it would just be a dozen people, and now it's turning into something more.
Yes, but it's not like it's a group of strangers.
I know. It was just a bit of a shock.
I'm sorry, I should have thought to tell you.
It's okay. At least now I only have 4 hours to panic instead of days. He chuckled.
Nadia, you worry too much.
And you rarely worry. We balance each other.
True.
He said, tugging me over to curl against him.
But I've been worried more lately than I have ever before.
About what?
The baby. Me being a dad.
You'll be perfect. It's me we have to worry about.
Why?
I don't even know how to change a diaper. He shrugged.
We get to practice on Maya's baby.
That's true. By the time she's born, we'll have it all figured out.
She?
He questioned, sitting up, letting me fall to the mattress.
It's a girl?
I don't know, I said with a laugh. I just wanted to call the baby something other than it.
But why a girl?
I have a suspicion. Would it matter either way?
Absolutely not. A girl, huh? Want to make it interesting?
A wager? His smile was enticing. What are the stakes? His wide grin told me everything I needed to know. The stakes would be high, and I was nothing more than a willing pawn. Of course, I was all in. Chapter 17. I smoothed out my dress for the 100th time as I waited with the other brides in the bridal room. They were more composed than I was. Jenna's dress was the most elaborate. It was adorned with lace and tiny white flowers, pretty and suitable for her. Gwen wore a sophisticated, slimming white dress. Maya had been afraid Ava might show up in camouflage, but she wore a simple ivory dress that looked lovely on her. Rosie was the surprise addition to the ceremony. I hadn't been positive Sergio and Rosie were an item, but after the whole fiasco, they had spoken to Frankie and Mark about getting married. When the trio found out, they were quick to include them in the group. I was happy for them to join us. They didn't have any family, so they were welcome to ours. Rosie fit right in, already speaking to the other brides as if she had known them for years. I guess with all they had been through, they had formed a natural bond. She was sweet with her dark hair and adorning yellow flowers that were placed throughout. Her dress had an empire waist like mine, only she didn't need to hide any extra weight. Thankfully, mine had enough material to hide a lot. It helped to have additional lace that created another layer to hide under. Maya waddled in. Her horizontal striped dress made her look as if she had a watermelon stored under the fabric. She was adorable.
We're nearly ready. The guests are all seated. The quartet is playing. The grooms are in place, and they are so handsome.
She gushed.
We just need Frankie and Mark.
Where are they? She hesitated.
I don't know.
I straightened, suddenly concerned. Out of everything to worry about today, Frankie and Mark disappearing should not have been one of them.
When did you see them last?
Ava asked.
An hour ago. They were squabbling about ribbon, so I went to check on the refreshments for the after-wedding mingle. When I came back, they were gone. I looked everywhere I could think of. I even called them.
Do the guys know?
Gwen asked.
No, they already look a bit nervous, and you know how they can overreact. I sent David to go look for them.
So, do we just stay here and wait?
Jenna asked.
I think so. It's bad luck if the grooms see you.
I think we've had our share of bad luck. What else could possibly happen?
I don't know, but I'm not tempting fate either. Give David 10 minutes, and then we'll start worrying.
I sat gingerly on a chair, knowing Frankie and Mark would never ditch us, and no one besides Alfonso would ever want to abduct them. Ugh, Alfonso. He was one person I wanted to forget, but he lurked in my mind, coming out whenever I didn't expect him. Whether I was happy assisting with the wedding or looking at house plans with Caleb, all of a sudden Alfonso would appear to remind me that this could all be gone in a blink of an eye. He would be my phantom for the rest of my life. Thankfully, that's all he could ever be. I looked around at all the women gathered and felt relieved. Alfonso couldn't hurt anyone ever again. Maya, however, might harm Frankie and Mark if they didn't show soon. Perhaps they just needed to cool off from their argument about ribbons. An odd thing to fight about, but it was Frankie and Mark. I tried to breathe steadily and remain calm. Not because the officiants were missing, but because my parents and Caleb's family were outside the door. I had already met his cousin who had helped fix my apartment from Muffin's hostile takeover, but I had never met his parents or anyone else. The door swung open, and Jessica stormed in, her dark hair tossed into a haphazard bun, which was unusual for her. She liked to maintain a professional appearance at all times. She must be upset about something, and I was about to find out what.
"A wedding?"
she asked, clearly miffed, but I had no idea why.
"You're getting married and you didn't even bother to tell me? I nearly missed a very important PR opportunity."
I thought you knew. You gave Maya all of my contacts and Caleb's.
"I didn't know it was for a wedding. Caleb left that out."
It was very sudden, and this is a group wedding. I don't think anyone here wants their happy day to become a PR media bite. She glanced at the other brides and then frowned.
"If I had any sense, I'd drop you both as clients."
"I'm okay with that." She narrowed her eyes.
"Don't forget you're under contract."
"How could I forget? You remind me every chance you get." Jessica tisked.
"I'll take a few photos for Poker Insider and then update the website."
She glanced at the brides.
"I will only take them of Caleb and Nadia."
She turned on her heels and walked out the door, snapping it closed behind her.
"She's very high-strung,"
Gwen said. "I'm sure she'll yell at Caleb next for breaking his leg."
"Why do you put up with her?"
Jenna asked. "Because Caleb does. I'm bundled in with his contract, which annoys her to no end, but she would never cancel his contract. He's her pocket ace." I shrugged. I don't mind her all that much. She takes care of paperwork and taxes. She books events. She's rather helpful when it suits her. I took out my phone and texted Jessica. In fact, she can find Frankie and Mark.
"Why would she do that?"
"Because she's already in PR mode, and I know she's told people she'll get them pics in a statement. If this wedding doesn't happen, then she'll have a ton of cleanup to do. She hates that." Jenna smiled.
"We need someone like that for the bed and breakfast. Do you think she works for companies too?"
"I'm sure if the price is right, she will." I looked in my purse to find her card. I fished it out with a few lollipop wrappers and handed it to Jenna. "But don't say I didn't warn you." She laughed.
"I think Grayson and I can handle her."
I glanced about the room, seeing that the others had gone back to chatting. I leaned in to whisper to Jenna, "Are we okay?"
"What do you mean?"
"You and me. I know there was a bit of awkwardness. I just want you to know that I hope we can be friends. With Maya as the community glue, I know we'll see each other again. I just want to make sure that's okay."
"I wouldn't be in this wedding if it wasn't. Yes, we're good. Sometimes I react before I remember Grayson loves me and you love Caleb. But that's something I have to work through, not you. I wasn't sure of the group wedding at first, but now I'm happy about it."
I have to admit I had mixed feelings about it too, but I think it's going to be great.
As long as we can find Frankie and Mark.
With Jessica on the hunt, it'll be only a matter of minutes. She smiled.
"You look radiant, by the way. The dress suits you. I'm so glad Maya was able to do all of our hair. She's such a gem."
"Thank you." She picked out this dress. I truly don't know what I would do without her.
I heard my name.
Maya said, coming over. "I was just saying you picked out my dress."
Well, if I left it to you, you'd come in a hoodie and jeans.
I smiled, knowing she was probably right. There was a bang on the door, and Muffin walked in.
"The grooms are getting restless."
"We're waiting for Frankie and Mark."
"Oh, they're in place. Jessica just dragged them in."
"Were they still fighting?"
"I think so."
"Oh dear. Should I go talk to them? I don't want them to start fighting during the ceremony."
"Yes, please," I said, knowing that with Frankie and Mark, anything was possible. She hurried out the door as fast as she could and returned a couple of minutes later. Well? I asked.
All is well. We're ready to proceed.
What was wrong?
It's been sorted out. I'll tell you later. Now, ladies, let's stand in order. Ava, you are first, followed by Gwen, Jenna, Rosie, and Nadia.
I was thankful to be last. By the time I arrived, the focus would be split between all of the couples. And even though I thought that, it didn't help when it was my turn to walk down the aisle with high heels and a sudden wave of nausea. Behave, I told the baby. I wasn't sure if she could understand silent commands, but it was worth a shot. However, as soon as I caught sight of Caleb, everything else melted away. He stood with the aid of a single crutch. His leg had to be throbbing, but it didn't show on his face. He smiled at me, reassuring me that we could face anything together, even a group wedding with feuding officiants. As soon as I neared him, he held out his hand, bringing me close to whisper,
"You're beautiful."
Frankie cleared his throat.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to our newly opened wedding chapel. It is our honor to join these couples today in matrimony. We know each of these couples well. Some a little too well. And I can honestly say, with not one single doubt in my mind, that these couples are in it for the long haul. They've each been through struggles no one should ever have to go through. They've come out stronger and more committed to each other. Their love will withstand the test of time.
Caleb squeezed my hand. I listened to Frankie and Mark as they continued, watching as each person said, "I do," until it was my turn. It seemed like it was proceeding so fast, and yet I also felt like my brain was stalled in slow motion. Did Caleb say "I do"? Caleb looked at me as if waiting. Was it my turn? "I do," I choked. He grinned, his eyes lighting with laughter. Somehow a ring had been slipped on my finger, but I'm not sure when that happened. It was lovely and twinkly. Caleb had picked it out. It was a diamond surrounded by emeralds. He said the emeralds reminded him of my eyes, and the shape was like a round poker chip. Frankie and Mark were wrapping up the ceremony when a sudden shriek echoed through the room. We all looked behind us to find Maya standing with a petrified look on her face.
My water broke.
Holy damn. Husbands, kiss your brides. You're all married. Cheers. We have a baby coming.
Caleb kissed me.
Life is always an adventure with you.
I had nothing to do with this, I said, turning to watch David help Maya out the door.
Maybe not,
He said, watching them as well.
but I can't wait for my turn.
You'll get your turn soon enough.
Nadia,
Maya yelled from outside the room.
my overnight bag.
I'll bring it.
Thank you.
And they were gone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mark said,
there are refreshments out in the lobby. Let's enjoy. I don't think we'll get any baby announcements for at least a few hours, probably more. Let's celebrate the joining of these 5 couples.
Ava and Remy led the procession out. Caleb and I filed out after Rosie and Sergio. After being focused on only Caleb, I finally noticed the other grooms for the first time. They were a handsome group all decked out in tuxes. Even though the tuxes were mainly the same style, each one looked completely different. Grayson would always be sophisticated, and Remy would always look like if one muscle twitched, he would bust out of his coat. As soon as we reached the lobby, I waited for my parents, who were not far behind. I hugged them both. "I'm so happy you were able to come."
"We are too,"
Mom said, her brown hair swept up into a bun.
"but I was a little surprised. I didn't even know you two were dating."
You'll be even more surprised.
Muffin said as she walked past.
Just wait until she tells you Caleb knocked her up.
Muffin! I glanced back at my wide-eyed parents and gave a nervous laugh. Looks like we have some catching up to do. It promised to be a long night. Thankfully, I had Caleb beside me, his parents already introducing themselves and whisking my parents into conversation.
See? No problem at all,
Caleb said.
Didn't you say you had something to show me in the bedroom?
I laughed, thankful that none of our parents had heard him. Later.
You're going to make me wait? Is this the beginning of the end, Mrs. Usher?
Wolf Usher, I corrected. It's in the contract that Jessica made me sign.
Of course it is.
He hugged me to him, his arms around my waist.
You can't make me wait for this.
He kissed me. I slipped my arms around his neck. You never have to wait for that, I said, kissing him back.
I wish our flight was tonight.
It's only a few days away. We had made a last-minute decision to take a honeymoon after the wedding. It made sense seeing as there was a baby on the way, and we were basically homeless. This was the perfect time to get away. Plus, leaving Vegas for even a short time would help separate us from memories. Caleb tugged me toward the hall.
We have a little time.
I glanced around to see that everyone was happily occupied. Let's go, but we have to be back before anyone notices. His eyes lit up.
A challenge?
I nodded.
Accepted.
Chapter 18. Caleb and I sat in the hospital waiting room. The wedding reception had broken up just before midnight. We drove straight to Maya and David's house so I could retrieve the overnight bag. However, Maya didn't need it yet because she was still in labor. And the longer she was in labor, the more concerned I became. Just how long did a woman have to be in pain before the baby was born?
Are you looking forward to brunch tomorrow?
Caleb asked. Before the small reception disbanded, my parents and Caleb's decided it would be a good idea to get to know each other better. And what could be better than bonding over brunch? At least Muffin ripped the bandage off. I could have throttled her at the time, but she did me a favor.
Your mom was shocked, but she seemed to snap out of it rather quickly.
I'm sure I'll be scolded later.
For being pregnant?
He asked, concerned. Oh no, I'm sure she's thrilled. I've never been a domestic type, so she probably despaired of me ever having children. But she'll be mad for being the last to know.
Do you want me to talk to her?
She'll corner you at brunch. Just wait. She was too shocked at the reception, but she'll have a plan of attack tomorrow. He laughed.
Should I be worried?
No, you can charm anyone. Anyway, she'll only grill you about grandma visitation rights.
I think I can handle that.
I know you can. He leaned over and kissed me.
I can't wait to get back home. Oh, will you put the dress back on?
Why?
So I can take it off. I feel cheated.
I smiled. It was amazing how fast well-wishers swooped in before we could get halfway down the hall. He groaned as if hurt.
We were nearly to the room. I had your top button already undone. I was going to win the challenge.
I laughed. Well, if you feel that strongly, then I'll re-challenge you when we get home. His eyes lit up. Frankie and Mark sat down next to us, bursting the cozy bubble I'd been enjoying.
Is she still in labor?
Yes. David came out not too long ago.
Even with all the crap we've been through, I've never seen him scared. But he was near fainting.
Caleb said.
I'm so glad I'm not a woman,
Frankie said with a shudder.
If I was, I'd hang a sign on me. This womb is closed for business.
I noticed Mark was quieter than normal. I nudged Frankie. Is Mark okay?
He will be,
Frankie whispered.
Just don't say anything.
I can hear you,
Mark said.
And I guess I'll be fine. Maybe in a year or two.
Don't be dramatic. I just said we should settle in first. We just moved in together. And we've opened a new business. Why should we add more stress onto us?
I didn't know it'd be such a stress for you,
he said with a sniff. I glanced over at Caleb. He shrugged and resumed listening.
You know you'd want it to be perfect. I don't want you to feel under pressure. You don't handle it very well.
What do you mean by that?
That you tend to get upset quickly. It's like living with a grenade.
Now I'm a grenade?
I said like a grenade. I didn't call you one.
Then why don't you say what you mean? You think I'm not good enough.
Frankie sighed.
Fine. We'll do it tomorrow.
Do what? I asked. Mark sat up straight.
Tomorrow? I couldn't possibly be ready by then.
Frankie sighed again.
When would be a better day?
Well, let me think.
Mark looked at his fingers, wiggling them as if he was counting. What's he doing?
April 3rd.
Mark announced.
Okay.
Frankie agreed. Mark grinned widely.
I'm so excited. We should go and plan.
While Frankie didn't groan, I could see the strain on his face as if he was holding it in. What's happening in April?
We're getting married.
Mark couldn't contain his excitement. Is that what you guys were fighting about earlier?
Mark was feeling left out. He wanted to get married with the rest of you, but we had no one to marry us.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know you were engaged.
We weren't, but now it's official.
I'm wearing white,
Mark said, hopping out of his seat.
I need to make a few calls.
It's past midnight, I said to his retreating form. Frankie was beginning to turn the same ghostly white shade as David had been the last time I saw him. I took out one of my special lollipops from my purse and handed it to Frankie. It helps with nausea. He took it and popped it into his mouth. Are you ready to get married?
Yes. No, wait. Yes.
So, yes?
Yes. I was just hoping for more time to enjoy our new home and chapel. Now it will be non-stop frenzy.
It'll be okay. He raised a brow at me.
Don't forget you're stuck living with us until you get your new place done. And Maya will be out of commission for a while. Guess who will be his wedding planning BFF?
I leaned into Caleb for support. Not me. Frankie nodded.
You should stock up on those lollipops.
I took one out and popped it into my mouth. Crap. Caleb laughed.
You'll both be okay. He can still talk to Maya on the phone, and she'll be on her feet in no time. She'll want to show off her new baby.
That's true, I said, talking around the lollipop.
And by the time Frankie and Mark are married, we'll have a baby.
He was right. That was just after the baby would be born. We might miss your wedding if she's born sooner.
Don't tell Mark. He picked a day. If he has to change it, he'll think it's bad luck. And then everything bad that happens for the rest of our lives will be attributed to that.
Okay. We'll do our best to be there.
Nadia.
David called from the delivery wing door.
Maya is asking for you.
I stood and slid an uneasy glance to Caleb and handed him my lollipop before I followed David. Is she okay?
Fine,
he said, but his pressed lips and pasty complexion said otherwise. I hoped there weren't any complications.
Wear these,
a nurse said. I took the paper garments and slipped them on. We entered the room, David in front, me cowering behind.
You took too long,
Maya yelped. I tried not to look at what was going on under her privacy sheet. Yes, I would be going through the same thing, but sometimes it was better not to know exactly what your fate looked like. David went to stand by her. He held her hand as she powered through another contraction. The metallic scent of blood swirled in my head, making me nauseated. Just when I didn't think I could stand much more, Maya screamed, pushed, and a baby was born. The process was painful and disgusting, but the look on Maya's and David's faces as the baby girl was presented was worth it all. Chapter 19. On April 3rd, I walked around the baby's room, making sure everything was in place. Did I need anything else? Frankie and Mark had decorated the room in pale yellows and greens. Quilted safari animals adorned the room. Crib, changing table, and dresser were in place and not falling over. Caleb's cabinetry-skilled family helped with that. Tiny clothes were in the drawers. Little grooming and first aid kits were in the changing table, along with a snot sucker, a stack of cloth diapers, and wipes. Technically, we still didn't know the sex of the baby. We wanted it to be a surprise, even though I was fairly sure it was a girl. A colossal wager was riding on the outcome. Caleb walked into the room and wrapped his arms around me, holding me from behind since my now giant belly was in the way. "Do you think we have everything we need?" I asked.
How much more could we possibly get? It's just a tiny baby.
It was amazing how much a tiny human needed. Do we have enough cloth diapers? I asked, rethinking our choice to go green. Maya had talked me into it.
Yes, and we have the emergency pack of disposables just in case.
The baby is going to arrive any moment. We have to be ready.
We are.
He said, steering me to the door.
It's time to go to the wedding. Frankie and Mark will kill us if we're late. They even wrote it in the invitation.
Okay. I turned off the light as we walked to the car.
You look beautiful in that little black dress.
Little? There was nothing little about it. Maya had loaned it to me. She was now back in her pre-pregnancy clothes, while I was in her balloon clothes. We made it to the chapel in plenty of time. Maya waved us over to where they were sitting. They looked like a picture book family. David and Maya sat together, holding a chubby, adorable little girl who cooed and blew raspberries as she played with her toes. They were all happy and content, looking as if this were natural. I envied their calm. I sat next to Maya and wiggled Juliana's toes. She giggled, drool flying everywhere.
How are you feeling?
Good for the most part. The nausea had long disappeared. Now there was just the swelling in my feet, ankles, and boobs. Caleb thought the latter was great fun. I, on the other hand, had to buy a bunch of new bras that would fit and had the flap in front for easy access. Caleb thought that was great fun too. The music played, and Frankie and Mark came out arm in arm. Mark wore an all-white tux with long tails. Frankie wore a black tux with no tail. They looked good together. I had been sure one of them would wear a dress since they had met at a drag queen lounge. The baby kicked multiple times against my stomach as if wanting to get out. I didn't blame her. It was probably cramped and hot. Or maybe that's the way I was feeling. I listened to Mark as he said his vows. They were long and flowery. I doubted Frankie's would be the same. Would they argue about that? It was hard to say with them. The baby kicked again, and this time it hurt. I winced, putting a hand on the side of my stomach.
Are you okay?
Caleb whispered. I nodded, thinking it was just a boisterous jab, but the pain spread, muscles clenched, and then it happened. My water broke. His eyes widened.
Let's go to the hospital.
I put my hand on him to keep him in his seat and shook my head. The wedding is almost over. Just wait a moment. From what I remembered, you weren't supposed to go in too early anyway. Plus, I didn't want to be the one to interrupt Mark's long-winded vows. He'd hold that over my head until one of us was dead, maybe even longer than that.
Are you sure?
I nodded, feeling a bit of the pain go away. Once Mark finished, Frankie read his vows, which were much shorter and to the point. I silently thanked him as my muscles contracted again, more painfully and pronounced. Grabbing Caleb's hand, I squeezed it hard so I wouldn't yell. He winced but took it. I really didn't want to hurt him, but the bastard had gotten me pregnant. If I was going to suffer, he was going down with me. The pain subsided, and I let out a breath of relief. So did he. I'm sorry.
We should go.
He rubbed his hand. Hold on. Frankie and Mark were announced as husbands. It would only be a short time and we could escape. As soon as they walked back down the aisle, I stood and filed out with the rest of the guests to the lobby for the reception. It was crowded, but Caleb and I were able to find a path out the door.
Where are you going?
Maya called as she followed us. It was then that I had another burst of pain. I clung to Caleb, feeling as though the baby was trying to push out through my belly button.
Oh my goodness, you're in labor.
I nodded.
Go to the hospital. We'll meet you later with your bag.
Caleb swooped me off to the hospital. I vowed never to have another child as the pain intensified.
We'll be there soon,
Caleb said, trying to reassure me, but I was past listening. The baby had turned into a sumo wrestler and was trying to ram its way out. 10 hours and 5,000 curses later, the baby was born. Caleb, who looked as if he were about to cry or pass out, stared at the baby in the doctor's arms.
It's a boy.
The crying bundle was taken for a few moments and then brought back to me. The nurse laid him in my arms. I looked at the wrinkly red baby and smiled. "You tricked me," I said, so unbelievably happy with the little guy. "I thought you were going to be a girl." He was amazing, and now that I saw him, I knew he'd be the perfect kid for me.
He's a boy,
Caleb said again, reaching over to touch his tiny fingers. Caleb's smile grew.
I feel like I won twice.
What do you mean?
He's a miracle, and I won the wager.
I was too happy with my little bundle to care much about the wager, but Caleb did win. Okay, you did win in more ways than one, I admitted. But let's enjoy him before you try to knock me up again. Caleb grinned and leaned over to kiss my forehead.
2 more babies.
That was the wager. And even though labor had sucked, having the little bug in my arms made it all worth it. He was an angel, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind having a couple of siblings. I sure didn't mind seeing Caleb happy. He looked at the baby in awe. I'm not sure how I was so fortunate when my luck was normally dismal, but this moment made me feel like the luckiest girl in the world. This has been The Last Hand, written by Nicolette Pierce. Digitally narrated with full cast of voices. Copyright 2018 by Nicolette Pierce. Production copyright 2025 by Pierced Heart Publishing.